boys' room. Gotcha. The live stream's on.
Good to know.
Good to know. Good to know. John Haynes. Asked me if I'd bring him one. Did you bring chairs? Wow. Gotta show those on camera a couple times.
I can't really tell here, but these are my donuts. The eyes and the fangs.
Oh, really?
Because they're plastic.
Oh, no kidding. That's funny. Being for surprise. Hey Kim, thanks for joining us. We started early tonight because it's our 2-year anniversary and we're excited to be back here at Northern Neck Regional Jail. So here comes one of our compatriots, Maurice, and we told them that we would be out here for this 2-year anniversary of our vigil tonight. Look at that beautiful sky on those pine trees, beautiful sunlight. Anyway, looks like we got a decent signal. So hey Cheryl, hopefully we can maintain some good calls and some catch-ups. Happy to have you all join us, as always. Oh, that's great of you, Kathy, to say that. We sure hope so, and there's more work to do, as everybody knows, but that's why we're here. We're excited to have a couple of our great supporters. All right.
Signed up for that when we started scanning box to doc.
I know. Hey, we've got some followers on already, guys. It's wonderful.
Awesome.
Kathy and Kim are there. Like I said before, we'll start the calls the normal time, around a little after 7. And we'll do the prayer and pledge of allegiance probably at 7 o'clock. So we'll do it then.
She's at the grocery store. She went through the intersection while we were stopped and talking to Lissa.
All right.
So we got waved at by the major.
Mm-hmm.
They got the major, the guy with the dark hair.
Luna?
Yeah, he just walked down and he waved at us.
Oh, that's nice.
So
Did you wave at him?
yeah,
Good. I didn't see that.
but there's a lot to be said for not beating up the Pistons because the Parker was fucked up or whatever. I can't come up with a good analogy.
Keep a smiley face on. Is that what you mean?
Well, kind of, sort of, but you know, make sure that you, if you're going to be pissed at the right people.
Well, I believe he's one of the ones that was named by individuals before, so he puts on a smiling face in the meetings, but and they should be doing that now.
And maybe that gets back to something you and I talked about. Talk radio show personality about, I couldn't tell if it was psychology or philosophy, but she said doing the right thing is usually the hardest.
Going to slash
Yeah, and so mainstream media is talking about how, oh yeah, but they're in the middle of a machinist strike too. So they're slashing tens of thousands of jobs, and they've got a machinist strike going on, which one could be causing the other.
I think they're related. So what I want to do is start making a couple of phone calls here to non-J6ers, but J6 related people that I have lined up.
That'll work.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm back and forth texting.
You have to look at my poster and say ooh ah, because I spend a lot of time all week making.
I will, certainly.
It's a lot harder to do it when you have to tear off old stuff and put new stuff on.
I checked reception. I don't know that I should bother bringing my computer out.
Well, can you manage, or can you monitor via your cell phone? Because we've got good signal here. We've got around 2,000 kilobits, so...
How many bars your phone got?
It's a
brand new battery in.
I brought
I'm
a
thinking.
neck light just in case.
If I bring the computer,
it is going to get dark.
where would I put it, and how would we use it?
Yeah, I don't know. Just wing it without it. If you want to pull it out, you can get it out.
I'll bring it over, but I don't know exactly what I'll do with it.
Carol said she's going to bring some soda.
Wow, I can't even take all that in. I mean, that's amazing. You've been doing a lot. It's really great. Why don't we show that on the screen a couple of times? Let's start out with that. I mean, what side of it is the product? Can you tell us if we're in the frame fully? Yeah. Well, it's on there. Just go there.
So we have our guys. These are the recent people.
You might want to speak towards it because we don't have.
So the
You
old.
can come closer.
Come closer.
So we have.
That's good.
A lot of people that will be calling in, like Brian Smith. He'll be calling in.
You need to go back about. There you no,
You're fine.
Cheryl, you were fine.
You're
It was
fine.
him that needed to come back. There we go.
Dominic Box. He'll probably be calling in. Let's see
I've
who-
got the list.
let's see, what do we have?
Yep.
Some other people that didn't quite make it. David Dempsey, he didn't call. He's not going to call him. But anyway.
How many you got on there?
I don't know.
Oh.
Jonathan Copeland is there. He apparently
Right.
calling in.
Andrew Taki's in there.
A lot of people didn't make it because I couldn't have room.
Right.
I decided to put a lot of people. David Dempsey's in Kensington.
Hello, Ava.
Anyway, I got it.
Bluetooth connected.
Test. All right, here we are back at Northern Neck Regional Jail. I'll go ahead and tee it up for the folks that are listening early, and thanks for joining us already. It is day 1374 from January 6th. It is October 11th. The prayer and pledge of allegiance when a few more folks show up. But we started this one about 6 just to get set up and to cover a few things and maybe have a few extra calls from folks that are related to J6, maybe not, certainly not incarcerated, but we've got some time to do that and to connect with folks beforehand. So again, day 1374, October 11th, 2024, and we are outside of the Northern Neck Regional Jail. I did a pan around a minute ago. I'll do it again later. But so there we are. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll kick it off here. Should have waited for Cheryl. Sorry. I didn't keep that.
Mother Nature has a way.
Hello.
Hey Tammy, how are you tonight?
Hey Tom, what's happening?
Hey, we're here at the jail and we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary, and I think it's appropriate that you were the first person we spoke to tonight.
Ah, you guys are awesome. Man, so who's out there with you?
Well, it's just Maurice and Cheryl and myself, but because we started early, but we're going to have a fairly good crowd, I think, and people are online
Nice.
streaming already, so we're excited about that.
Well, I'm excited. This is it's a monumentous occasion, I think, right?
Yeah, it is. It's amazing how time has flown by, and that we're at this 2-year anniversary. But I want to tell the story about how you were instrumental. You really are the one that initiated these vigils out here and got us started. So would you like to tell it, or do you want me to tell it?
Well, I can start and then, you can jump in. Well, okay, so I was in D.C. with Mickey and Nicole and a whole bunch of other people that were there at that time. And, but Brian was in Northern Neck with about 25 other guys, I think, approximately. And so I was doing the nightly vigil in D.C. and I just saw, how much the advocacy and the attention was really improving things at that jail and making a big difference. And so I thought, maybe we could find somebody in the Northern Neck area that would be, willing to help get something like that going in Northern Neck. And so I went on Facebook and I found the Northern Neck Patriots, and I went to their meeting and I met Tom and another guy named Gary, which is a funny story, and I'll tell everybody that story in a little bit. But and so I met these guys, and they were already supporting and advocating for our J6ers, and it was just amazing. And so I guess you could say history was made. I said I would like to do a vigil, and they said we would love to do that. And so we came out there on and Tommy Tatum, and we had our first vigil. It was amazing.
Right. And you made that trip. That trip is what, 2.5 hour drive plus traffic, right? So.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely. It's not a short drive. It's a shorter drive. It was about half the drive from DC to Northern Neck as it was from DC to Lewisburg.
Yeah.
But, so it was quite amazing, just in the first 6 months of those guys being there, the difference that the Northern Neck Patriots made in all of their lives, not just with, the financial support that was, y'all were gathering, passing the hat around at your meetings, but with the letters that was really inspiring to all of our men in there. And it was just, God brought us together as God does. And here we are 2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years later for sure. And the good news is that some of the folks are washing through the system at this point. Others still have a ways to go. But what I feel, Tammy, and I know you do too, but I feel like there's got a lot more awareness around J6 now, especially as we get approaching the election, and I'm very encouraged by that.
Absolutely. I feel like, people are starting to become less afraid to talk about it in public settings. At first, nobody would talk about it. You'd have to whisper in your own home. And understand, that we weren't just crazy conspiracy theorists or raging MAGA extremists. As more evidence trickled out, people started saying, hey, wait a minute, and a lot of people were there,
Cool?
and a lot of people that weren't there wish they would have been there and are so glad that they weren't there now and are sitting at home feeling guilty, like, what can I do now? And I think, a way to get involved has been.
It's a life-changing event, as you know very well, obviously. I was just speaking to a gentleman just yesterday who was a J6er, who pled out of the system. I think he spent 30 days. He did it for his own reasons. Everybody has their own reasons and what they do. And for him, it was to try to, keep his life together, and it ended up not working all that well for him at first, but he's clawing his way back out of it, and he's got his feet under him, but it really wrecked his life.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have such mixed emotions about, people trying to explain to me why they take plea deals. It's a very personal decision. Brian took a plea deal while he was making it, so, I don't think anybody owes anybody an explanation in these regards. I think that there are people that, can and are willing to take it to trial, and for those people I'm grateful, and for the people that are taking plea deals, I'm grateful for them too, because everybody's got a story and everybody's got a role to play in this, and I don't think that anybody should be diminished for how little or how much the federal government is screwing all of these guys.
And that was the plan all along, to make an example out of them, as we know. And again, more and more information comes out every day, including, well, I've got something I'm going to read later that is just a summary of things that you know about already, but Trump's request for National Guard troops, and the media made that sound like he never asked for it, which indeed he did. So the whole thing, as we know and have said for 2 years now,
and all the darkness eventually comes to light. It always does. It's just the way things work, and with enough time you can find anything more and more and more. And honestly, I have a cautious optimism for our upcoming election, even though the deep state and Democrats and crazed maniacs alike all around the world are doing what they can to subvert our democracy. I think that we have God on our side, and that's something that they can't really mess with. You know, we have a million prayers going out every single night for these J6ers, and I feel so blessed and grateful to have been a part of this community.
Well, and
that way at first, like, don't get me wrong, I did not feel that way at first. I was like, what do you mean? But, you know, after the initial shock of the federal government calling your husband a terrorist wears off, then you see Nicole and Stormtrooper and Sherry and Chinese Americans, you know, Rebecca and Lily and Dwight, and, you know, the people that I met in Lewis across this nation. You know, when I struck out Cynthia Hughes, actually, and to experience all of that, and having to, you know, having gotten to get to form a really strong bond with some really amazing people through all this time, has just been, you know, the greatest silver lining I could have ever asked for. It's not been easy. I'll never say, you know, I would want to do this again. I don't. You know, I'm ready to get my husband and go home. But, you know, it's been a fun game, guys. But you guys, you know, and God led me in every step to meet really showed us what it means to be strong in the face of adversity, because she does a different story, and we'll go on with our lives. And while Mickey will go on, our lives will ever be the same we've gone through. But I just think that obviously she's lost one night a week in Northern Neck and one night a week in Lewisburg, and, you know, and just get a real grassroots and in our local communities that, you know, have our ideals and share our values and aren't afraid to say it and are willing to stand up for, you know, why he took a guilty plea, you know. Like, if he really felt like he had never did anything but stand there on ground that he felt he had the right to be on, guys, he is what he's guilty of. And in any other circumstance, he would have gotten a fine or, you know, maybe some community service. But in this circumstance, he's a terrorist, and he's in a maximum security prison. And, you know, thing that I just found out yesterday is that, you know, when they go to sentencing, and they say, okay, well, you owe a fine of, in Brian's case, it's $2,100. Okay, so they tell you that's due upon them getting out. But no, it's not. It's due upon them getting sentenced. And they already have, like, a hit against them once they get out, because they haven't started making payments. If they don't, now, here's the kicker. If they have money in their commissary in prison, that money gets taken to pay the fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, it's just another kick in the gut every time you turn around. It's like you think that they are, you know, done with you and they're about to spit you out because they're unchewing, and it's not quite yet. Still just a piece of beef jerky in the clutches of the government jaw.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's just what we got to deal with until things turn around. So,
well, I'll tell you what. I feel very optimistic about. I feel like there has been a atmosphere in our nation, and the very lackluster government response from our administration that is current, and I think that is going to sway voters more than any debate ever could, honestly. And I think that when Trump wins and he gets back in office in that day, and who was calling the shots and who ordered the murder of innocent civilians, then I think things are going to be a lot better when we get to that point. I think we're going to be there a lot sooner than people think. And I think that when we get there, you know, sometime like early spring next year, when we show up to the White House to receive our $11 million checks, I'll be the happiest person on the earth. I'll be happy to say thank you, President Trump. And until then, I'm going to be a little bit reserved on the thank yous with the President Trump.
All right, yeah, well, let's hold his feet to the fire. I like to see that 11 million figure hit your bank, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to have an insane garden, but, you know.
Well, that's great. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you long. It's so great to start with you. And again, thank you for being the impetus to get us started. Oh, we got a question for you. Hang on.
I have a question. Hi, Tammy. This is Cheryl Johnson. I just wanted to say hi. I haven't talked to you in months, and I just wanted to say hi.
Hey, Cheryl. I hope you guys are doing well.
Yes, we're doing well. Too bad, you know, we wish you were here.
I wish I could be there, but I've got to get something going so that Brian has something to come home to. Unfortunately.
Did he say what? Do you know when he's going to be coming home? Did I miss that part?
Well, his out date is January 21st, ironically. So if all else fails and he doesn't get to go to a halfway house, then he will be out by January 21st. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Cheryl, for asking that. Anything else?
That's all.
All right.
Well, I love you guys, and thank you so much for carrying on, doing the hard work of having your boots on the ground every single week, being so steadfast and you know, tenacious about it. I really love you guys, and
We love you, Patriot!
You know, y'all are the best.
You know those voices. All right.
Is John coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking to somebody.
All right. So, Tammy, wonderful.
If you can, you might want to click the button you did last week to get me moderator.
Moderator. We need a moderator.
We need to make a cartoon for Ralph the Roach.
Okay, how I did it.
Let's get a cartoon for Ralph the Roach, and we'll get him to wear the buffalo hat, and we'll paint his face.
Well, we got to keep an eye on our transmission, though. It's getting a little bit weirder, so I'm going to move it a little bit.
On occasion, yeah.
Maurice, I don't know about what you asked me to do.
Well, last week
I know what you.
logged in and
Yeah.
gave me moderator.
I'm saying I don't know if I can get that done here. It's no better.
To protect us. You know, and they made the
Spot. Hold that satellite where it is. That's a good spot.
How about we get it before the 11 million? What you're on satellite. When they get their 11 million. We did the right thing, especially since you had never been there. He would not be offended that we did that.
It might have happened. Sorry. Good.
Tom Jeffries, thank you so much. It's an honor to meet you. It really is.
How are you?
Good.
I don't know that I've ever met
How
you.
did this get here? Hi. Nice to see you. Hi. Nice to see you. I know Heather. I finally got Heather down. Carol, I'm just
So a lot of lawyers, a lot of people have said
nobody connected here. No, nobody other. I'm just.
You're here.
I'm here.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
We were at the house yesterday in DC.
I believe it.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the women there asked me who I was related to.
I have something on that topic I was going to try to read tonight, so
I
I'm
have something for you. Thank you. You too. You too. Okay. Welcome out. I feel like the nutcase. I
I can't do that. I'm on probation.
I would have bet
fellow
that.
Americans stand up for what's right.
Right.
You know, it's
I would
funny
have
because
bet
that
that
would
day
have
had I had
occasion.
anybody to
And
go
we
with.
didn't have you.
Yes.
Is it coming out but his
Go
birthday?
I'm
Yeah.
coming out of the closet.
But his birthday's November 12th. This is his first time.
Tommy.
Now you guys remember, everything we talk about back here can be on here, and it might be competing.
Aw. I will text you guys and give you my number too.
Yeah, that'll be
You guys
great.
ever know when
So you could, and that's Donald J. Trump.
Have you seen a podcast I produced in there?
I've been saying, yeah.
So we used that. We used his mug shot right on the table. I thought that was my favorite part of the whole thing. I was like, oh, Dempsey had that big picture of this from the New York Post, and we used it on the table.
And I have something else for you too.
This is awesome. I'm going to use this for sure tonight. I was about to say, you put it here, but unless you want to do it here.
No, oh yeah.
I'm going to bring you on then. We started a little bit early, but I'll bring you on.
I'd rather look retarded than be.
All right, Angie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, everybody, this is Angie Ray, and I'll let her start out by telling us a little bit about who she is and why I called her and wanted her to talk to us tonight.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Angie. My son, Mason Corson, has been incarcerated since December 14th, 2021. And he is currently at Coleman Low in Coleman, Florida, and has a release date of December 31st, 2025. So we're coming up on 3 years that he's been gone, and we're doing our best to hang in there and hang tight. But it's been a real tough ride for us. And Tom has been involved in our lives since Northern Neck, right, Tom? Which Mason spent about 1.5 years at. So for those of you that know, that's a horrific place, and was probably the worst of what he has gone through. Honestly, Tom, was his time there. So, yeah, I mean, what else can I say besides this nightmare still goes on, you know?
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up about the jail. I forgot to tell you that we are outside of the jail tonight. We decided to do that because of the 2-year anniversary, and we let them know that we were going to be here, and we're still watching.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I think it's amazing. I know that throughout the time that we had so many of our guys in there, our J6ers in there, even when they were all moved, you guys still continued advocating, and for the men that were inside there, even though they weren't J6ers. And that's something that even Mason said to me was very important to them. They saw the abuse, they saw the neglect for all inmates in there. And I think that the difference between our guys noticed is that our guys had our support, and our guys were very boisterous, and our guys were very, you know, most of them very brave and outspoken. And a lot of the men inside don't have that. And I think that it's great. It's really terrible, the whole BOP system, but what's going on there, and it being a private facility specifically, is just really terrible.
Yeah, you're right about that, and we're continuing to learn some things just this week. It's something that we may talk about later. I don't know, but we go to their jail board meetings as well, and you know, we had hoped for a significant amount of change with the new superintendent, but so far it's not feeling like that. So we've got to stay after it.
Yes, definitely, and it's not surprising, unfortunately, you know.
So Mason spent probably one of the longest times in this jail, I think, 1.5 years. I really never sat down and, you know, bar charted it out, but that was a pretty long stint here.
Yeah, I think when he arrived, When he arrived, I think there was only one or two guys in there, one of them being Enrique Tarrio, that was moved pretty quickly. So I'm talking, he got there, I want to say January 2022, and he remained straight through, I want to say May of 23. So he was there quite a while. He was there a long time before they moved him to Lewisburg in Pennsylvania. So he was there quite a long time. And that's where he met most of the guys, that he, some that he keeps in touch with still, or that we do. And before then going to DC, and then, the whole turmoil of being moved before finally settling in at Coleman.
Right. So he's at Coleman. You have a question for her?
No.
At Coleman, that's fairly close to you, right? An hour or so away, is that right?
No, Coleman's actually a solid 4 hours. It's about an hour north of Orlando, and I'm in Weston, which is like between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So it's like a solid 4 hours.
That's good. I didn't realize that was that much, but you're right. You can certainly make that trip.
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing? Any news? Any updates with him?
So we were told just last week that he is up for halfway house release March 6th. So we have our fingers crossed this coming year. All goes well, that there still be space in the halfway house. They have not told us which one yet. There's various about 30 to 45 minutes from us that I'm hoping they put him in, but they have not released like the name or the location yet. So we're praying that March 6th he will be in a halfway house, and he'll have to remain there, is what they're telling us, till the 31st of December, which then he will be able to come home and start his probation and so forth. But they haven't really given us too much information on that.
Well, we'll pray that happens and he gets to get there sooner rather than later. How'd you do through the storm? We were all watching that up here and worried that it was going to be very devastating. And it sounds like it wasn't as bad as predicted.
Yeah, no, I guess when it hit landfall over in the Sarasota area, and thankfully we're more, towards the east, and we got about 30-mile-an-hour winds, but nothing too major, and very little rain actually. So we fared well. Mason said at the jail they got a lot of rain, so they flooded a little bit, but no real damage. So they did well there too. I think it was more like the areas like the Tampa, Sarasota, and all the little inlets on that west coast that really suffered quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's a blessing. I mean, because the storm Helene that came up through the Carolinas, it's just unbelievable. The devastation is still going on there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, question?
For Angie.
Yeah, we got a question.
Come to the camera.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Come on in. We got a question for you.
Hey, so Angie, this is John Mellis. Your son is one of my great friends.
John, how are you? Yes.
I'm doing all right. I had to double check my probation map to see where I could go. I have certain counties. I'm okay here, so I'm good. But
they're keeping you close here.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to communicate with him or tell you to tell him anything. But I hope he's doing well, and I hope he's taking it easy on the Blapper Dappers. Nobody knows what that means. It's kind of an inside joke.
I don't know what that means. I'm just laughing because you are, but okay.
I know. But when he hears that, he'll laugh.
Okay.
But I love you. Your son is one of my great friends, and I
thank you so much.
I hope he's doing well, and I can't wait to see him out. It was an honor getting to know him in the pardon, being able to hang out and really take in the freedom, uhuru.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, he just called, a couple days in office, but it's like there's that little bit of the inside that, I'll believe it when I see it, John, because we've been burnt so badly, and we've all had our hopes up so strong, for so long. And that's what we all pray for. You know, he talks about it all the time. He's like, Mom, when I get pardoned, and I told my caseworker when I get pardoned, and you know, he really believes it. He does. He does. So
I believe it too. I believe it too. The media and the debates, they always try, whenever they have Trump in front of them, they try to kind of coax him to kind of disavow us or distance himself from us. But he always stands strong, and he knows that we're always here for him. And I believe that President Trump is not only going to save the world, he's going to save America, but he's also going to save the J6ers, because we've been treated absolutely terribly. I mean, the conditions we've had to endure, and the sentences and the way that the federal government has treated us has been absolutely despicable. But I hope Trump, you know, I'm fairly certain, I believe Trump is going to come in and clean it all up. And but you know, I wish we hadn't have gone through all of this. But since we did, it was an honor getting to know your son. It was an honor getting to know all the other men.
Thank you so much.
I'm praying for them every day. I've been speaking at conservative clubs and you know, Birch Society chapters. You know, since I've been out. I mean, every chance I get, I have at least 1 or 2 or 3 speaking engagements a day since I've been out last Monday. And I'm telling you, people are interested. They're fired up. They don't even understand the depths of what happened that day, what happened after that day to us. And I always remind them, and this is true with all the J6ers, but it's also so glaring with people like with people like a great organization, a great fraternity, the Proud Boys. You know, that I tell them at the end of my speaking, I tell them, you know, the Proud Boys have showed up at every single Trump rally, and these people in these clubs, you know, 100 people in the room. I tell them, you've seen them, and they're nodding along. They've seen them at the rallies, and they appreciated their help, because they're there to protect innocent civilians from Antifa and BLM counter protesters. So the Proud Boys show up every single time for them. It's time for them to show up for the Proud Boys and vote, and bring your family members, and get everybody out there and vote, man. We gotta vote, because if we don't get Trump back in, we lose America, we lose the world, and we lose these J6ers for decades of their life. And that breaks my heart, that some of my Dominic and all the rest of the J6ers, I mean, these are great men. I mean, honestly, I'm sure, I don't know if you've been following along with the podcast that me and Edward Badalian had filmed inside the DC jail on wearegoodmen.com. But we were able to use the jail issue laptops to film, and getting to know these men in front of a camera and letting the world see that with these hour and a half, 2 hour long interviews. I mean, these are great men. They're good men, and they don't deserve what's going on. And it's upon all of us out here to make sure everyone stays motivated, everyone stays on top of it, door knocking, voting, all of those things. Put your Trump signs out loud and proud. Everyone, we cannot show shame. We need to be proud, we need to be loud, and we need to be strong. And and I know you have been. I know you have been.
Yeah, listen, I tried really hard. I just took a little hiatus recently because it's exhausting. John, I think it's important what you're doing by speaking out and doing these things, because I think that J6ers have been stereotyped. I think you've all been thrown into a category, and I think that you know, you've been all painted a certain way, and it's important that, you know, the people that care see you guys as individuals and get to know you all for the individual men that you are. And most of the people that I've come across are stand-up men. You know, these are good guys. These are not guys that should ever have spent a day in jail. That's first and foremost. Secondly, I appreciate your kind words about my son. And for those of you that don't know, my son is quite a loner in a way. So the fact that you became friends with him speaks volumes for you, because he's very picky, very observant. He stays to himself. And when he has a friend, it's a friend, you know, so I appreciate that. So thank you.
He's one of my favorite people in the world. I can't wait to see him again out here free. doing something great in the future. Maybe some kind of maybe some kind of I don't know. There's a lot of initiatives and things we can do to actually bring positivity and joy, real joy, not Kamala joy, real joy to the world.
Yeah, please, not that kind of joy.
No, I don't know what that kind of joy is. That's weird stuff, man.
And we're going to count on him and everybody else, because we're going to need to clean it up. When the pardons happen, we're still going to need to clean up the rest of it. So.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Angie, thanks so much for
your time. You're welcome. And Tom, I want to tell you really quick before you guys let me go. I did tell him that you had reached out to me and that I was going to talk to you guys for a little bit. And he said, "Oh, I remember Tom." And he said, "Tom was at my hearing. Tom was there." So just to let you know, he remembers. And it meant a lot to him. So even though you haven't had the privilege of getting to know him one-on-one, there's certain things throughout the past 3 years that have stuck out in his mind. And even though he couldn't look and stare at us all that day in the courtroom, he remembers you being there. And so from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for that, because, we didn't have a lot of people there that day.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. But you need to know one thing too that really inspired me is you wrote me a note. I don't know how you found my email, but you wrote me a note telling me how much you appreciated and how much of an impact these vigils were having, and that Mason had told you, "Hey Mom, there's people out there that call themselves Northern Neck Patriots." Isn't that cool?
He did. That was as soon as he heard about you guys. He's like, "People actually care. They call themselves the Northern Neck Patriots. Mom, you got to find out about them." And it actually gave him hope. It was the first thing when he was in that hellhole that gave him, he kind of felt like the J6ers were thrown away, like just locked up and tossed away. And so that was his first glimpse of hope, So, yeah, forever grateful, for anyone out there that did what they did, and the guys that worked on the paper so diligently and everything that they did. It's just very, very much. I know I can speak for myself and some of the others. And John, I still keep in touch with Dominic Pizzola's mom and talk to her quite often too. And, so there's a few of us that keep in touch.
Absolutely. I've been in touch with Amy, and I'm in touch with several other people. I think we share in common. I can't wait to see those guys out. And I just want to echo what you said about Mr. Jeffries here. You are honestly one of my heroes. I had been keeping up with you and John Haynes and the Northern Neck Patriots, just like you guys are keeping up with Angie feels. You guys are awesome. The darkest, saddest time in this entire experience was when we first got locked up in that DC gulag, when we were on solitary confinement with no visitation, and nobody was talking about us. The guards were beating us. We had black mold, brown water, rats, mice, all sorts of infestations of rodents and cockroaches. We had to deal with all sorts of terrible conditions, and nobody was talking about this. Was before the Gateway Pundit. This was before Cara Castronova. This was before anyone was talking about us. It seemed like we were lost in a dungeon in a hole somewhere, and it was dark and it was sad. But when we heard people started this kind of thing with the Northern Neck Patriots or with Mama Mickey, we are so grateful to the vigils. And I want to echo what Angie said, Mr. Jeffries. You're amazing. You're one of my heroes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Angie, I could talk to you it seems like we could talk for another hour, but we got to make some other calls. And
go ahead, and then we'll be in touch, Tom.
Right. God bless you. Okay. And give our best to Mason.
Thank you. Absolutely will.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Cheryl's trying to tell you it's 7 o'clock.
Oh. All right. Let's kick this off
What happens
again.
at 7?
All right.
I think she's trying to keep it on track.
So y'all, we got to do our kickoff here. So it is day 1,374 since January 6th. It is October 11th, 2024. We are the Northern Neck Patriots, and we are out in front of the Northern Neck Regional Jail for our 2-year anniversary of these vigils. I think we've only missed 3 nights in 2 years. So gather around and do a prayer and pledge and get this thing started. Back turn, or you want to come on in?
Okay.
you want to show your face? It's a lovely face. Come on, turn around. I'm going to share my back with my Northern Neck Patriot t-shirt on here. All right, you guys can hold hands, you can do whatever you want to do, but just as always, we want to kick this off with a prayer, pledge of allegiance, a little bit of background information, maybe a couple more phone calls before the January 6ers start to call us around 7:15. So, Father in heaven, thank you for the ability to be here once again, even though we all would rather be in other places. The J6ers would rather never have been through what they've been through, and their families as well. But through your love, support, and guidance, we know that they will get through this. They will persevere. Thank you for protecting the people of Florida with this last hurricane, and of course, give courage and hope to all those people in southwestern Virginia. Give us the courage to continue this fight for as long as we need, and I believe with your help it's not going to be much longer and we can get there, but we need everybody to be part of it. Thank you, Lord, in Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There it is.
The bandana.
You gotta have the bandana. All right, so we got pizza over here. We got a nice crowd of folks. Thanks for everybody for driving up here a couple hours to be with us. You've been all over the place. Jen, did you have anything you'd like to say at any point? Because I'll hand you the mic and let you go for it. That'd be fantastic while I get my stuff together here.
Okay, everybody. Hi. I have an update from David Dempsey. He is Hazelton, West Virginia. Not a great place at all. We've heard that both from the guys and the women. He is struggling. His family's struggling. Can I give his GiveSendGo? Okay. If you guys would like to help him, he is givesendgo.com/GKD996. And he does need help, his family. And then Stephen Randolph, he also, he's in Philadelphia right now. This is a family that literally is, it's not, they're not poor. They're
Poor is a state of mind.
Correct.
Broke
Right.
is a financial condition.
Yeah, and yes, that's it. That's it. They're broke as all get out. So, if you guys can help, he was just recently incarcerated. He's in Philly right now, waiting for his transport, and he is without, the cold weather stuff. Commissary wise, his GiveSendGo is givesendgo.com/Stephen Randolph. Both Stephen and Randolph have PH, so STEPHENRANDOLF. No, I'm not F to have PH. And then if you guys want to go to Amazon.com and check out Trennis Evans' new book, it's called Call It Insurrection, Comrade. And
I saw that this morning
did
online.
you? Yeah.
I think we're going to get that one.
Right on. Well, he's got he's been recognized by General Michael Flynn and Laura Logan on the book. It's already become a bestseller, and but we need to get it moving and get everybody. Hey, there it is. Nice. So, yeah, you can find that on Amazon. I think you can as well on Barnes & Noble, but I'm not sure, so just go to Amazon.
He said get it on Amazon. Just go get it. Just get it.
Just get it. Get it. And I think that's it. You can also get the Pardon Project book, and it's $4.47. That's at Amazon as well. It's the Pardon Project is Like I said, it's $4.47. They made it that price for. Go there, send it to your favorite J6er or buy it yourself and pass it along. Talks about all about the pardon process, and we're getting that to Donald J. Trump so he can just start pardoning everybody right away. And there you go. I think that's it. That's by Suzanne Monk, just so you know, and a group of us that are helping. Awesome. Jonathan.
And I just want to remind everyone also about David Dempsey. He's a great man, a great patriot, and I just released.
You gotta hold it
Oh,
close.
all right. I just want to remind everyone about David Dempsey. So he's a great man. He's one of my best friends. He's suffered a lot, not just in this experience, but for his entire life. And I would like everyone, if you would like to get to know him, because he is such a good man, please visit Rumble channel, We Are Good Men, and there's about an hour-and-a-half interview with him from inside the DC Gulag that me and Edward Badalian had produced. So please visit Rumble, We Are Good Men on Rumble, and get to know David Dempsey. I mean, he had a very tough childhood, a very tough adulthood, and now the federal government is doing this to him. So I really encourage everyone to please donate to David Dempsey. He really, 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 really needs your help. I beg you. And his GiveSendGo is givesendgo.com/GKD996. Please, please, please donate to David Dempsey. Please help him out. It would really mean a lot to a lot of us. All of us love David Dempsey. I mean, the J6ers, telling you, David Dempsey is a character. Getting to know him was one of the great honors of my life.
He's an amazing Trump impression.
Oh, he does a great Trump impression. Oh, he does a great Trump impression. He has no filter either. He is the most authentic man you'll ever meet. And just his life story is so compelling and tear-jerking, really. I mean, he really dealt with a lot through the foster care system in California and the abuse that he suffered at the hands of the government. If you want to know why he supports Donald Trump and why he supports cleaning up the government and why he distrusts the government, you should go check out that podcast interview on Rumble at We Are Good Men. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
I'd like Jonathan to come over here. John.
Mr. Melly.
I want you to meet John.
Really keeping up with you since I've been in jail.
All right, I want to do something that we haven't done in a while, and that is to walk through the names of the gentlemen that we know of that went through Northern Neck Regional Jail. And forgot to bring my light with me tonight, so I've got to do this. But these are the approximately 60 men and women that went through Northern Neck Regional Jail, where we are here tonight for our second year anniversary. And those names are Howard Adams, Zach Alam, Eric Beauchesne, Tim Boehner, Nick Brockhoff, Jeffrey Brown, Mason Corson, Lucas Denny, Israel Easterday, Brandon Fellows, Todd Gardner, David Geetson, James Grant, Matthew Green, Kenneth Harrelson, Albuquerque Head. Oh, I could have done that. Brian Jackson, Adam Jackson, Justin Jersey, David Judd, Cash Kelly, Hosea Kenyon, Nick Lagarin, Samuel Lazar, Marcus Malley, Mark Mazza, Patrick McCaughey, Jonathan Mellis, who's here with us tonight, Matthew Miller, Robert Morse, John Munifo, Daryl Neely, Ethan Nordine, William Norwood, Michael Perkins, Dominic Pizzola, Mark Ponder, Ronnie Presley, Mahyla Pryor, the one female that went through here for just a few days, Chris Quaglin, Barry Ramey, Zach Reel, William Reed, Howard Richardson, Thomas Robertson, Daniel Rodriguez, Jeffrey Sable, Ryan Samsel, Ronald Sandlin, Troy Sargent, Jeffrey Sills, Andrew Taki, Enrique Tario, Curtis Tate, Ricky Wilden, Shane Woods, and Kyle Young.
Heroes.
And if I missed anyone, well, you can put it in the text or in the chat, but I think that's pretty complete. Is that too bad? Too much in here?
A little bit.
Well,
What, you want to be able to
it's
see?
okay. I was driving here as the sun came down, and the sun was a whole lot brighter.
My light has no filter, just like me.
It's all good.
On or off is what it is.
I proved to appreciate that.
You know, slightly different topic. I was and I came across this article in the Jerusalem Post claiming that 104 million Americans, 32 million of which are Christians here in the States,
Taking the pictures.
and they don't. They clearly do not. That's basically a statement saying that slightly over half of eligible voters in this country do not plan on voting.
3
And-
in 10 Christians.
Right.
3 in 10.
3 in 10. But I have to ask the question: are they really not voting, or are they going to become closet voters?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what the story is there, but it makes absolutely no sense to me. But I think the bigger part is that in this particular article, the numbers were stretched so far that it couldn't possibly be true. And it's kind of like that court case where they say, well, if you lie about this, what else are you lying about? And I think people need to keep their chin up, is what I'm saying. Don't get discouraged by some of these reports you hear, because I gotta tell you, everybody in my town, they're voting. Every single one of all stripes, blue or red, everybody's voting.
She could have just stood there and just froze, and we'd have waited for as long as
Yeah.
Thanks. I do want everybody to know that we were, like Angie was talking about, or somebody was talking, appreciate the involvement of everybody. We did have a woman who gave us information, and actually gave to a woman that I know in my GOP, and she came and gave me the information about her son that's here at the Northern Neck Jail. And he was being denied his medication. He has seizures, very serious seizures. I'm not going to say his name because I don't think that's appropriate, but I do want you to know that we have been working on that, and he has received his medication. The January 6ers do know him because they did see him seize inside the jail and almost die. So this fight is not going to end when the guys and the gals get out of jail and prison. It's not going to end. The egregiousness of these private facilities, these boards, these judges is just, it's too much to stop fighting. And just so you know that the work is continuing, even though it's not for the J6ers.
How are you?
So we got a call, you.
I'm out here free.
Hey, this is who's calling us here tonight at Northern Neck Regional Jail?
This is James Grant of the January 6er, but I'm calling from the outside.
All right.
I am free.
Welcome, James. Glad to hear you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here. It's great to be out. walking around my neighborhood. You know, I still got 3 years of probation, but you know, I'm hoping we can cut that short with this election. But yeah, it's crazy. Everything's so different out here. I'd say the country's changed a lot in the 3 years since I've been out. It's
with you there. I think so. Yeah, the country has definitely gotten worse. So you guys were a little bit insulated from that, but hey, we're still going to take it back.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think at this point, the only way to take it back would be mass deportations. I mean, it's crazy out here, but just the rhetoric I'm seeing on just like on X and everything has gotten like so far like worse than what I thought. I thought it was bad when I was out, but yeah, just the country is way more polarized than it was. And yeah, the divisive rhetoric and whatnot is much more than it was. But you know, it's great to be out. It's great to eat good food. And but you know, I gotta say I've been a little depressed just looking at the wreckage of my life and looking at all the media about myself. I think I got it worse than most people too. Like a lot of people, you know, they didn't get it as bad as me. And I don't know if it's because of my position, you know, being associated with the initial breach, but you know, they got me real good, Tom. I mean, they dug through everything and destroyed me. And yeah, that stupid AR-15 with the DWI, which I wasn't even charged with. Boy, they went to town on that. It's everywhere, and
yeah,
you know, it's
yeah, I saw that. But you know, I think they're going to dig anything they could to make an example, because you're right. You were at the forefront, and they were trying to you know, just paint you guys.
Right, and that incident too, it just kills me because I was, you know, looking back, I was being followed by the FBI that entire day, and like hours and hours. And my original plan was to take the rifle and sell it at Cabela's. And when I finally got there, I go to open the door, and one of the cars that was, now I realized was definitely a Fed, he keeps opening his door at the same time. And I'm trying to I'm thinking he's gonna, you know, swarm me or something. So, you know, I'd been followed for hours, and eventually I just settled with Denny's thinking about what to do. I'm not supposed to have this right now. And then like 8 cop cars swarm in, and, you know, the rest is history, but I was driving fine. You know, not to make excuses for anything, but, you know, I underestimated the amount of police presence that would be following me. I thought it was going to be a simple trip, you know, to Cabela's to sell it, and it was not. But, yeah, no, I'm still dealing with that right now. You know, I got a limited driving privilege, but, you know, just the fallout, you know, from this whole thing is, you know, I look at the wreckage of my life, and, yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to go to law school now. You know, I'm definitely going to have to explain the DWI, and I guess I would have to explain January 6th also, you know.
Well, hopefully the January 6th piece of it, you're going to be able to explain that, because so hopefully that piece, you know, you won't have to deal with so much. But yeah, the other part, I mean, circumstances, right?
Well, they're not completely separate, because he's innocent of, he was going to Cabela's, but because he was at January 6th, he got picked up trying to get into Cabela's. Had he not been at the rigging of January 6th protests, then he probably wouldn't have gotten picked up in the first place.
Right. I mean, I completely agree. With the FBI following me for hours, they still couldn't really get me, and they had to manufacture a situation to get me. And, you know, without that, had I just been a regular citizen at that point and not someone they were observing, I would have been fine. And, yeah, you know, I was talking to, there's some Japanese people that called the Vigil, and he said, you know, did you think January 6th was a threat to democracy? And I said, Hideki, quite the opposite. And I think, and I tried to turn it on him, and I said, how would you feel, Hideki, you know, if it came out that the election was stolen? At that point, wouldn't we have a duty to you know, stand against a stolen election, against a fraudulent election? And he did, you know, being very direct, he did concede that point. And, you know, that's why I always say I think this
fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was good. And I think a lot of that was because these guys are pre-trial. So I felt like I had to speak for them because, you know, for so long I've censored. I couldn't even really say the election was stolen. because I was worried they would use that against me. Now, as it turned out, they didn't use any. I almost have to get weaned back into talking freely again. But yeah, the election was stolen. Now we're the opposite. Now these are freedom fighters that stood up, and I'm proud to stand up with every one of them. And yeah, it's just a shame what they're doing to people. And I hate this perception that people who have assault charges got what they deserved or something. Because I pushed a fence and it didn't, I was acquitted of any injury. It didn't hit anyone. It didn't even touch anyone. And I was convicted of assault with a deadly weapon, which is to my knowledge, there's no attempted murder charge in the feds. It's just assault with a deadly weapon. So I got the same charge as, someone that, had he not been killed, I guess the guy who shot President Trump, Crook. I got the same charge as him essentially for pushing a fence, which, I think what I did was criminal mischief at best. And, when I was arrested originally, I was really surprised. I didn't even understand what for. Maybe trespassing, but when they said assault, and what's funny is my original indictment didn't even say assault, but they realized later on that they could get whatever they asked for. So in the later indictments, the superseding indictments, they went ahead and added that.
But the assault was on somebody who wasn't injured, as I recall from your sentencing. The officer was not injured, correct?
Right, no, not at all. Neither of them were injured or touched.
So let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
This is Maurice, and the question is which do you hate more? The obvious perception or the reason?
What, Maurice?
The perception that you were just talking about a couple of seconds ago, about hating the perception that you guys were the bad guys because nobody stole it, or the reason that the people believe, like you were talking about with your discussion with the Japanese guy, is it that people actually believe it, or the reason that they believe the wrong thing?
Yeah, I mean they're both tough. They're both tough. I'd say I hate them both equally. It's so frustrating being the misconception, and we spent the last 3 years trying to correct these misconceptions. And yeah, I mean it's just crazy, and I think I know people need to rethink these stances, and I just hope they're willing to, and I hope exposing the fraud. Because the whole thing's based on the fraud, right? Like, once that gets changed, how do you even get mad at us?
Right. But some people will hold on to it in spite of that.
Right. No, you see it on, I see it on X all the time, people posting stuff from January 6th, and it's crazy. It's like, do they need reminding that?
They absolutely do need reminding of that, because that's the narrative that was pushed and pushed and pushed. Yep.
Right. And, it's in one of the Gateway Pundit articles that I posted, but right at the start of January 6th, I was decked in the face by Officer Lohman for trying to pull someone off of a cop, and for trying to pull one of my co-defendants off of a cop. And that was at the very start of the day, and that was an illegal sucker punch. Even my heavily Democrat lawyer even said, if he was here, I would advise him of his Fifth Amendment rights, because he could be very well indicted for assault. So right at the start of the day, they were assaulting people and they were antagonizing people.
Right. Listen.
Yeah. Hey, James, it's Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, honey. I was looking at that video of you being sucker punched today.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd seen it a few times. But he nailed you. Like, he jumped at you. He didn't care what was going on. He jumped at you and hit you so hard.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I don't know why I didn't notice that before, but it just really kind of blew my mind.
Right. It's a really good cut. I think that's why. I think they've showed really misleading ones, and whoever was doing that, the filming on the other cuts, like at the moment of the impact, the person like turns away and you can't see it. But the one I showed is really good. Yeah, I think that's why.
Yeah, and you guys,
it's a really good one.
Everybody will be able to see that, whether there's a Gateway Pundit article coming out for you.
It's going to be great, and I think, it's a really good one. And for trying to pull someone off of a cop, no less. I was trying to help at the time. So yeah, no, it's going to be really good. It's going to be a good article. Also, I'm able to finally speak on what I heard Ray Epps say. So that's going to come out in the article. Going to kind of confirm some things, and if anyone thinks that's not true, I would advise them to bring a lip reader in from what you can see, because it's going to be corroborated. So.
You want to say hi to me?
Hey James, it's Cheryl. How are you doing? How's it?
Cheryl, I'm doing good. I'm out. I'm free. I'm walking around the neighborhood.
I know that. It must be wonderful.
It's nice, yeah. Chilly out, but I'm loving it.
John Haynes is doing the Trump dance for you right here, right now.
The one he did on SNL?
The one you did on SNL. I don't know if it...
The one I did on Cowboy Logic.
On Cowboy Logic, that's when he did it, yeah.
Okay, I gotta look it up. I don't know which one he's talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Well, listen, we've only got a few minutes, but tell us, what was your favorite meal since you were out, or some highlights of freedom that really resonated with you.
So my first day out, I was shocked when they told me when I was in Philly, and they called my name, and I figured it was for like my PIN or something because they hadn't given me my PIN. And he's like, "Yeah, James Grant, yeah, you're getting released today." And I thought it was going to take like another week, and I couldn't even call my lawyer since I got to Philly. And that was just crazy, and I was just like, wow. And, David Dempsey was on my block, and we had been hanging out together, and I went up and told him, and, yeah, it was just crazy. And they're like, wow, you're getting out today. But Philly's like an FDC, so a lot of people come. It's kind of like a jail, too, though. So a lot of people come and go. It wasn't that crazy to a lot of people. But and I hadn't told people I was leaving because I didn't want them to, try to mess up my time, because sometimes people do that. That they're jealous if they got 20 years and you're leaving. But the first night out, too, they wouldn't give me shoes either. I was wearing these shoes I kept falling out of, these bright orange shoes. So I'm walking around in street clothes with these bright orange, obviously jail shoes. And I hated that part. But, I got a lobster roll. My lawyer took me to some restaurant when he picked me up in D.C. He took me to some restaurant in the Union Square, the train station, I think Union Station, and I got a lobster roll. I ate well, and it was just surreal being out after 3 years. I drove a car for the first time in 3 years today. Went and got a haircut. It was nice not to have a jail haircut with just one. I've gotten my haircut in jail with a razor before. Like the guy just used a razor and a comb the whole time, and it pulls on your hair and it really hurts. So I was surprised at how fast the haircut was. And I went to, so looking forward to a lot more first, and, not having to go back. But yeah, just thank you guys. I did get a Give Send Go up and running, givesendgo.com/James Grant. It's just my name, very simple. I'm on X, James Grant J6. I'm on X/Twitter. But yeah, just trying to get back on my feet out here. And, just trying to take it slow. It's a little overwhelming, but yeah.
Well, call anytime, James. I mean, anytime, not just on the vigils. And we're all out here supporting you and pulling for you. So we'll do what we can. And we look forward to seeing you in person someday.
Movement, we'll definitely get up. Thank you, guys.
We love you, Patriot.
All right, yeah, love you, man.
Love you too. Thanks, guys.
God bless.
God bless. Bye.
I've got something I can add as far as the election.
James was just talking about why it's so difficult for people to understand how badly the election was stolen. But before you even get to election day, it was stolen. Right after the election, there was a poll taken, and it asked if you knew that the Hunter Biden laptop was authentic, would you have voted for Biden? A full 17% said they would not have. That alone would have been enough to change the election. Also, there's some excellent reports that have been out for a while now as far as the effect of Google and Facebook, editing searches and whatever. That also was enough to sway the election. So there was at least twice the votes stolen before the election that was needed to achieve the results. And the more I study this, the more I come to realize not only would Trump have won, he would have won by a major landslide, because everybody fixates on how many fake votes they brought in, but nobody ever talks about how many Trump votes were destroyed or not reported at all. So anyway, I think over time that it's become just glaringly obvious that not only was the election stolen, it was stolen by a record margin. And I think it's going to go down in the history books, which is why they had to stage January 6th. They had just committed the biggest political crime in the history of our country, and they just couldn't let it get out.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Desiree, you're live at the Vigil at Northern Neck Regional Jail for our 2-year anniversary. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Doing great. So,
Northern Neck sends a chill down my family's spine. Thinking about all the time that Barry spent there. My goodness.
yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, Desiree is Barry Ramey's fiance, and she's been one of the people that we spoke to early on when we started our vigils, and is part of a much larger network of supporters for January 6ers, and I'd just love to hear from you and the work that you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit real quick? We don't have a lot of time, Desiree, but tell us about the call to action you put out. I think it was this morning.
Yeah, no problem. So really quick, basically what we know Trump is going up against Kamala Harris, but it's not really Kamala. It's the large media organization and, the government behind her. So Sean Hannity has done something really amazing on his website. What he's done is put this link that's Kamala Waltz files, and it's audio clips of things that Kamala has said, Waltz has said, that are completely left-wing, radical things that you would not want to be, leaders of our country. And so what I'm encouraging everyone to do is to go to the Sean Hannity's site, and if you don't know exactly where it is, all you have to do is just look up Kamala Files Hannity, Google, and you'll find it. And it's like these ridiculous clips that are in their own voice. So it's things like Waltz saying one person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Another one is Kamala pledging zero emission vehicles by 2045. And there's just a whole list of them. There's about a good 25 just short clips. They're anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds at tops. And I put the call to action out there today to share these clips with people, because whether it's text or email, just send it today. We've got less than 30 days away from the election, and if people actually hear this in their own voice, these radical viewpoints, I feel like they will vote for Trump. And this is not just to send to people who maybe are not going to vote for Trump. Send it to people that are going to vote for Trump, because you never know who they are in contact with to make this go widespread. I went on X, Twitter X, whatever, and I went to go look to see when this actually came out, when people started reposting it, and the algorithms are set against it. For all these people that have reposted it, which was 2,000 people, they have 14 views. The only one that has any kind of views is Hannity's actual post. And so for mine, 11 views. I'm this is ridiculous. So something on the algorithm in X is not working for it. So that's why I'm saying text or email, people, so that they can hear the actual audios. So yeah, that's the call to action.
Well, that's great. Thanks. So again, you can find it on, just repeat that.
Yeah, it's on Sean Hannity's website. And I will just...
Probably just Hannity.com or something.
Yeah. It's / the-Kamala-Walls, -files. But if you just go the Kamala files, like the 4th one over to the right on the top of the screen. So you'll get there and you'll see all the audios, and it's, you know, a bunch of stuff written up too. So.
Well, great, thanks. So we got just a couple of minutes. How'd you do in the storm, and how did Barry do, and how is he?
Oh, so thank goodness we're in a more southern area of Florida. It was just wind and rain where I'm at. There were tornadoes that came down, but they didn't come anywhere near where I am or where Barry is in Miami. Thank goodness, because the building that he is in, the last large storm that we had that wasn't even a hurricane, their roof like collapsed in one of the buildings. They still haven't gotten it fixed, but he's doing okay. For a little while they had some lockdowns because there was like the weather and tornadoes and whatever, but nothing happened over there, so he's doing okay, other than the health stuff that you guys probably already know about.
Yeah, John just got a letter from him, so he's thanking him for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'll let him know next time I talk to him. Thank you. Yeah, mail's been weird over there too, so.
Yeah, it sounds great. Okay, well, thanks for connecting with us tonight. I really appreciate it, and thank you for everything that you do to continue this fight, not just for Barry, but for everybody. So Desiree, thank you so much.
Thank you, and I wish I could say like happy, 2 years, but in a way, I'm glad you guys are doing it, but it's terrible that we have to, right? Yeah. But thank you so much, guys.
All right, real quick, we got a real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, Desiree, this is John Mellis. I'm not allowed to communicate with felons or anything like that. I just want to let you know I love your boyfriend. Barry is one of my best friends. I love that man. I'm not allowed to, but I can say hi to you. So I just wanted to tell you that, and I wanted to thank you for taking care of him and, giving him some form of light in the darkness that he's sitting in right now. And I pray for him every day. I love that man. So, all right.
We love you, Scarface.
What's that?
Oh no!
That was John Haynes saying we love you, Scarface.
Oh, it's terrible.
Anyway.
It's Tucker Scarlson. That's what he's named it.
Tucker
Nice. All right. Stand corrected. All right.
Take care, you guys.
Have a great night.
You too, bye.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, when I found out about that. Tucker Scarlton.
That's funny when he sent that to me. I warned him. I said, they probably won't like it when this is published. The day it came out, they put him in solitary.
Of course.
It's one brave young man.
Hey there. Sorry, we're a few minutes late. How you doing, Mickey?
I'm okay. We do have Atwood calling in a couple minutes, but we do have a couple minutes to chat. So just want to say, where are you at, Ruffet? Right here. So yeah, congratulations, Northern Neck, on 2 years worth of vigils. Yay! Right.
And congratulations to you guys. You passed the 800 mark this week, right?
Yeah. Really? We had 800 on Wednesday and Ashley's birthday yesterday.
Wow, that's 800 consecutive, by the way, everybody who doesn't know any better. You guys haven't missed a beat, no matter how many people were there.
Amazing.
And it's really phenomenal. So thank you guys for what you're doing. You're an inspiration for us and the reason why we're still here.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Jeffries. It's a pleasure to know you guys. We've always felt like it was a pleasure to know those activated Northern Neck patriots. That's right. Y'all get some stuff done up there. Yeah, you do.
Well, there's some interesting things going on at the jail, which is really serendipitous that we went to the jail board meeting on Wednesday. I won't say a whole lot about it, but we met somebody who's advocating for their loved one inside here. And I think there's going to be some there's going to be some work around that, so that's exciting development. And it's just important for us to be here at the jail for them to remember that just because the J6ers are gone doesn't mean that there are things here that need to be changed
That's right.
dramatically.
Right.
So.
God bless you, Northern Neck Patriots. And, yeah, and I know Cheryl and Maurice. I know Cheryl does a lot for the guys inside and keeps in contact with some of them. And you know, Mr. John. And I just, it's a pleasure to know you guys. And I think the work you did to get the guys out of that hellhole was. So thank you. Thank you for that and your continued efforts, Mr. Jeffries.
Well, thanks, Mickey. Do you have another quick second? John Mellis is here and wanted to say something.
Sure.
Hey, Mickey, I just want to thank you so much for everything you've done. You've inspired all of us J6ers, and for the work that you did inspiring these Northern Neck Patriots. I mean, these are great people out here, and it really, and it all started with you. Love you so much. Thank you so much.
Activated when we got here, but it was a pleasure to work alongside you guys for you know, from then until now, and you know, we appreciate your friendship.
All right, well, listen, thanks again. I'm glad we got to connect tonight.
I'm going to give her a flying.
All right, well, congratulations.
Hey, Mickey, this is John Haynes.
Hey, Mr. Haynes, the beast. It's the beast, y'all.
How y'all doing?
We're doing good out here. It's nice weather, trying to enjoy it while we got it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'm sorry I haven't been able to catch up with you, but I haven't forgot about you, and I'm already shopping for a frying pan for Christmas. So
okay.
that's an inside joke. Don't worry, I won't drop a dime on you.
All right, I appreciate that. Don't put it in the paper, Mr. Haynes.
All right, sounds great. You all have a wonderful night. Enjoy and say hello to everybody you get to talk to in the vigil, and we'll let them know that we talked to you as well.
Thanks, Tom. All right, God bless you. All right, good night and God bless, guys.
God bless you.
So I guess that was all. They're actually up there right now at the DC Gulag, carrying on 800 plus days consecutive, and taking out a few minutes to give us a little love down here at the Northern Neck.
Is that on?
I think so. Either that or I'm just that good.
Yeah, I was just trying to get, I had a few scheduled calls and we got a couple more. One is supposed to start in a minute. So if anybody's got anything they want to say J6 related, please do.
Yeah, so we were just talking. Brought back memories from last year or maybe even into the year before. When they were still here, we were talking to them and it was very clear that they were the pointy tip of the spear, and they were highlighting that whatever is going on bad to them, it's not necessarily, although in some cases it is, but it's not always necessarily because they were J6ers. It's because that's what goes on in our justice system, where you get incarcerated, and rather than the punishment simply being deprivation of liberty, other people get to have artistic creativity in what they make the prisoners experience. And in my mind, I think, you know, that could be me someday if I happen to swerve the wrong way on the road and somebody decides that, well, it's time to go visit the jail bars instead of the other bars. But
Well, you really got a lot.
but the reality is nationwide, our system is broken, and people that remain nameless to this day are being abused in our system. But don't get me wrong, there are people in the system that probably deserve some pretty bad things because of the crimes that they've committed. But in general, from what I'm seeing, you've got people that maybe made a bad decision. That's not really the way they would play cards all the time, but they made a bad call. Deprivation of liberty for a specified period of time should be the end of it, and that's not really the way. That, you know, I think it was Mr. Janatakis that shared with us a few months back some statistics, and of all children in this country have a parent that's incarcerated. That is crazy. That is absolutely freaking nuts. And then in another conversation, we learned that, but it is in fact about the money. They've got to keep the hotel rooms full. So the system is inherently ripe for corruption, and we the people need to stay on top of it, because we haven't been paying attention enough until the January 6ers got in there. So y'all were the pointy tip of the spear. Woke up a lot of people to what's really going on in there, and that's the other part is, while Northern Neck Regional Jail has a history of being not so great, they're not alone. It's happening everywhere. So people need to wake up to these facts or to not pay attention anymore. There is.
Yeah, I just want to concur, agree with you, man. It's going through this system and watching what the federal government did to the J6ers. It's not unique, oddly. When I got to federal prison, you know, when you start talking to other guys and you start realizing that the federal government has been perfecting this for decades, like you said. And when we started getting rounded up, a lot of lawyers and media people and just citizens were looking at us that had been through the, you know, people who've been through the system looking at us and thinking, man, we're screwed. Like those J6ers, man, they're gone, you know, because they know how the federal government works, and they know that this deceptive and relentless system will destroy you if it chooses to. The prosecutors routinely lie in court. The judges believe them, or the judges might not believe them. I don't know, but the judges go along with it. I mean, I witnessed it multiple times in my own case. Prosecutor would lie, and judge to dispute these things because it's just going to cause a ruffle, and it seems like it doesn't help anybody. Because you just anger the judge, and then the prosecutor goes at you even harder. But you've got I can name multiple cases that I met this election. I hope, and I do believe that. I say I hope because, man, these leftists are creative and maniacal, and you never know what they're going to do, and it's nothing scarier than when the leftists are backed into a corner and when they know they're going to lose. They could. I mean, look, they burned cities down. Over 600 riots in the summer of 2020. I mean, I look at the COVID restrictions and away from the tables to look at ballots. I mean, just simple things like that. But we take for granted. But they were watching. And they were changing election laws unconstitutionally in a whole bunch of states. And we weren't even watching that ball. We didn't even realize that was a thing until it happened on election day, and it was too late. But and then the media just has their back and just completely ignores anything we have. But once this is over, when Donald Trump is in, we need to scrub this system clean. We need to. I mean, I loved when I heard Donald Trump talk about putting Elon Musk in charge of a panel to actually look into looking for efficiencies in the government, and that means cutting things. Firing people. We need to fire them, man. 85% of the federal workforce needs to be fired. We need to start fresh. Come on, wipe it clean.
Entire bureaucracies need to be wiped off the charts.
Gone. Why? I rack my brain wondering, I watch guys in federal prison who were sentenced, went to trial and sentencing in the state that they were from. And as soon as they were sentenced, the federal government comes in and charges them with the same thing. So then they do state time and fed time, double jeopardy. That's what I thought. But the federal government does what it wants. If it wants to keep you off the street, if it wants to keep you away from your family, it'll do it. And if you have a voice, greatest books, and he believes every American should read, and I agree with him 100%, is Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Revolution. Right before the Revolutionary War. The government is so big and bloated, and the bureaucracy is so large, the government, the politicians, become unresponsive to the voters. We can't change anything. Look at when Biden first came into office, for example, he means for companies using Congress to do this. He didn't even have to. He just told, he used the that, of course, but that's what they do. They just use these agencies
to run that through the courts. How many people lost their jobs, their careers, their lives, their livelihoods?
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing, is they would put stuff out there that's absolutely on its face unconstitutional, get it through the court systems. And in that intervening months and years, there's a lot of people that got hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wild. What is this this ruling that just came out just a little bit ago, the Chevron deference thing? And that's amazing.
That's
I don't think the American people realize how much that's going to impact our lives going forward. That the federal government agencies just can't just make laws on their own and then just tell us all what to do. We're not voting them in. And Neil Gorsuch, Supreme Court Neil Gorsuch was on an interview, and he said in his lifetime, the laws on the books and the bureaucracy in the government has blown. It's unrecognizable now, and we're not, and then politicians on the other hand are just passing these omnibus spending bills. They're not even reading them. They're coming out and they're passing them the next day. Right before Christmas break, so the American people are in the dark. They're in the dark. Nobody knows what's going on. It's green. What is it? The Green New Deal. They call it something different. They call it the Donald Trump rips it out. I hope Donald Trump clears it out root and branch.
Donald Trump is going to need our help. That's the point. I mean, he's going to need our help on the ground at the county level. I've got a booklet I'm going to send home with you, John. You need to get to know the guy that's running for sheriff down there in Virginia Beach. His name is Aldo, if you haven't heard of him. But I've got a booklet that he gave me and a pamphlet. But we've got to take back our government at the local level is what we need to do. I want to just give a little shout out to a congressman who I do think has his head and heart in the right place. I hope maybe he can get with our Congressman Rob Whitman. But this is a weekly newsletter from Morgan Griffith from Virginia's 9th District. And I've often given him a shout out and read some of his information, but this is his newsletter that came out today. Did you check the NPR? Can you check that, by the way, and maybe give us an update on that when we have a chance? So here's what he says. Some work in D.C. does not get the attention of national and local media outlets. At the beginning of the 118th Congress, I was asked to serve on the House Administration Committee, and specifically the Subcommittee on Oversight because of my legal background. In the 117th Congress, the U.S. Select Committee on the January 6th attack was established. Then Speaker Nancy Pelosi initially offered Republicans Jim Banks. She said no. Ultimately, she installed 2 Republicans who did not have the support of the Republican caucus to serve. And that was Cheney and Kinzinger, Adam Kinzinger. Yeah.
Crying Kinzinger.
During the tenure of his overly partisan Select Committee, Democrats pushed a narrative they favored. 2nd, 2022, the Select Committee published their now questionable final report. The Oversight Subcommittee was tasked to get all the facts from January 6th, to review the Select Committee's actions and findings, and to learn what went wrong on January 6th. One objective of the subcommittee to get to all the facts out of the way. The National Guard was not made available until the late afternoon of January 6, 2021. I think it was something like 3 or plus hours after they were asked for. Under the law, January 6 is the date when Congress is responsible to receive and determine the validity of the Electoral College votes every 4 years. So he's going into a lot of detail here for folks that maybe don't know much about J6, so I'm going to try to skim a little bit over here. Our Oversight Subcommittee held a hearing with former United States Capitol Police Chief Sund, who oversaw U.S. Capitol Police on January 6. The January 6 Select Committee never asked Chief Sund to publicly testify before the committee. Why? Also, earlier this year, Oversight had 4 D.C. National Guard whistleblowers appear in a hearing. The whistleblowers disputed evidence submitted to the Select Committee. I was actually fortunate enough to be there at that subcommittee hearing. The Select Committee never asked these witnesses to publicly testify either. Someone connected with the committee publicly leaked his name.
Worse than that, all 4 witnesses and General Walker, who at the time was the commander of the D.C. National Guard to the Capitol. Interestingly, on January 3rd, President Trump directed military figures, including Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley and Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller, to ensure a sufficient National Guard or soldiers' presence for January 6th. So Trump asked for it days ahead. However, due to optics concerns, Miller did not press ahead. There's absolutely no way I was putting U.S. military forces at the Capitol, period, Miller told the Inspector General of Trump's request. As the situation on January 6th turned ugly, Miller finally realized he had to send an order to deploy the National Guard. He sent the order to the National Guard whistleblowers, either told or were willing to tell the Select Committee all of this information. But it doesn't appear in their final report. Additionally, another whistleblower outside of the National Guard testified to the DoD Inspector General. Their testimony confirmed Secretary McCarthy didn't give the orders to the Guard until 5:08 p.m. That is 2 hours after Miller relented at 3:04. So basically he summarizes, bad things happened on January 6th, some criminal acts occurred, and I do not condone those crimes, but the job of the Select Committee and our job as an oversight subcommittee are not to only follow the facts we hope are true, but to uncover all the facts. The Select Committee did not do that. So again, I just encourage everybody to check out Morgan Griffith, Griffith. He's been reporting on J6 and matter-of-fact items, and I wish, again, Rob Whitman, I'd like to see you out here at the next Northern Neck Regional Jail Vigil.
Yeah, fat chance he'll ever show up. Rob Whitman is my congressman, and I'll tell you, that guy never answers a question straight. I don't have any faith in him whatsoever.
One of his assistants out here to attend a meeting.
Yeah.
He bolted out as soon as the meeting was over. He was gone. He didn't want to talk to us. He didn't stick around. That was it. That was Rob Whitman's president.
That's funny because he told me he's been out here and he's
At the Vigil.
Never, not once.
Rob Whitman's a rhino, and I understand that people want to. I told that, so I've been speaking to different conservative groups since I've been out, and I told them that, you know.
Hello, this is a prepress 0. Your current balance is $66.33. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hey, what's happening? Northern Neck.
How you doing?
Yes, sir.
How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good. We got me and Joseph Hutcherson here.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The dual call.
All right.
Awesome.
Nice.
We're outside of the Northern Neck Regional Jail tonight. We got a real good crowd, got a bunch of people that came in, and this is our 2-year anniversary, so we're honored to have you guys calling us.
Man, that's awesome. I feel honored to be here. I mean, that's big time. We're on the big time now. 2-year anniversary? Dang.
Yep.
That's awesome. Good work. 30 days.
Oh, we got
Man, that's good.
we got pizza, donuts, all kinds of stuff out here, but you know, it's we just gotta enjoy ourselves while we can. Nice weather, but glad to hear you guys. How's it going in there?
Oh, it's going good. We don't have pizza and donuts, but what we do have is a good attitude. Oh wow, isn't that good? Yeah, you know, we're creative with what we can make in here, but everybody's good spirits. Everybody's ready to, you know, everybody's feeling good coming up on election, and you know, feeling like we're gonna bring home the win. Donald Trump comes president.
I saw an interesting commentary today that they thought that Kamala was not going to have to speak quite so much, you know, to actually have to campaign. They were hoping that Trump was going to stumble or worse, and that she could just coast through just like Joe did in the basement. So a lot more people are finding out just how limited her intellect is.
Oh yeah, no, that's 100%. It's ridiculous how she has a very good ability of not answering any questions. Just kind of going for the ramble every time she's asked, like a good question or an important question. She'll go into this, philosophical, oh, well, what I found out is good is not bad. And that's the difference between right and wrong, is the difference between me and what I'm trying to pursue. And it's just like a whole lot of nonsense for a long time. And they're just like, well, what did you even say? That was a whole lot of nothing.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some really great impersonators out here that I see on X a lot, and their mannerisms, their look, everything, they just nail it. It's so funny.
You just act stupid.
Oh yeah. No, that's good. It's perfect. Easy. Yeah. No, that's it. But that's what we were talking about. We were talking about if that, because of course they're not in charge. People in the background are in charge. They just have to be the face of their campaign, basically. And I'm like, if that's your best pick for just being a face for your campaign and just to be the speaker, the runner-up, the so-called president, I'm like, that's the best pick y'all had? That's all you had to go with? That's terrible. I mean, you hit a wall with Joe Biden. Joe Biden was basically, didn't know where he was most of the time, so you just like, just hide that guy in the basement, and we'll just do without him, and hopefully people forget who's president. And then you're like, oh no, here we go, round 2, we're going to start new presidency, and the runner-up, to want that job, they can be smart. If they were smart, then they would try to run it themselves. That's right. No, I get that. Try to lead the campaign. If they could find someone, dim-witted enough, then they can just do everything for them.
Yeah, and they're free.
It makes sense.
Well, the other thing is, they set the bar so low. Joe set the bar so low with Kamala as VP that she set the bar even lower with this Waltz guy.
I was like, man, they got Gam out there. I was like, if Grandma's against you, I mean, that's rough. When Grandma don't want you to be president, because no matter what, you're supposed to be Grandma's special little boy. You're handsome even if you're ugly. And I was like, they Gam's down there going, nah, we're voting for Trump. No Waltz here. Man, that's rough. Yeah, if that don't say enough, I don't know what does.
Well, that was
bad.
That's why they came up with all this weird stuff, trying to put weird on label on guy. Waltz is weird. I mean, there's some videos I've seen of him, and I don't think it's AI, I don't think it's fake, but wearing like tight, goofy looking village people kind of outfits and dancing and doing some really weird stuff.
That's weird.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you can see that when he's up on stage. He just has that, odd personality. Like, he's a little bit off. He's a little bit strange. Like, you don't want your kids anywhere near that guy. But, yeah. But that was their pick, man. That was the best choice they had. They were going to make it all the way with him. Yeah, we watched the VP debate. I don't remember how long ago that was, but that was pretty funny. I'm like watching it, and I'm like, is Waltz gonna vote for J.D. Vance? I think he might. I mean, it was he was like a hype man for him. Yeah, no, that was it. Hype man. Yeah, they were like best friends up there. That was something else. I guess they were. I don't know what the plan was for that one, but it came out on top. That was good. So what do y'all have planned for your 2 years? You guys gonna do anything special, or is it just some nice food and some good speaking?
We're eating some pizza and donuts.
And soda.
Mustard and biscuits. Mustard and biscuits.
Oh yeah, no. What else do you need? That's it. Yeah. Combination for success. We think about a lot. Getting out of here.
Hey, Jonathan.
Oh, sure.
Hey, this is Jim.
Hey.
Hey, this is Jim Baker.
right. How you doing?
I'm good, Benny. I just wanted to tell you something. Because they're so wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
But I just want you to know that they have to be head to toe about you. The way you represent your family is beautiful. And your mother and you both so much. And I just wanted to let you know that I love you all so much. That's all.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for that. That was so nice. And, yeah, no, I'm definitely extremely blessed to have a good family be. You know, it's sad when you really see society and how rare that really is to have a good, strong family. And you know, you can't take it for granted. You know, able to be raised in that. And, you know, it's a blessing for sure. Thank you.
How are they doing with the storm, and are they home? What's going on there?
So, you know, you don't run from a hurricane. And so it wasn't too bad. They said, well, my 80-year-old grandma, she said that was the worst one she's ever been through. It was pretty rough, just because of how long it lasted. It was just so hard for about 10 hours. It was extremely windy, and my uncle, he lives about 100 yards from us, and it ripped his porch off, and then it came to us, and it ripped our porch off where we have a building where we have our you know, paperwork, and Mom does her office work for the family business and stuff. It ripped that off and was soaking all the paperwork and stuff, and so they had to run out. The only ones that were at the house was my dad, my older brother, and my younger sister, and then Mom was there, and it was right in the middle of the worst part of it, and it's blowing, and my younger sister, she's pretty timid, she's very quiet, and I was talking to her about it, and she's like, yeah, I was scared to death about the hurricane, and because I was just trying to hold the door so they could run in, and but that door was, and I'm like, I gotta save the paperwork, so I gotta go out there and help them. And so it's just like, I ran out there and grabbed everything I could, brought it back in. I'm like, there you go, Mary. You know, mustering up the bravery to run out in the middle of the hurricane. And so they said it worked out. All the important stuff was saved, and so it wasn't too bad on them. It definitely was. Could have been a whole lot worse, I believe, than it was for how bad the hurricane was. But it was funny. My brother, he's like, yeah, man, I saw on 98, which is a road that runs out of all the trucks and stuff, and ripping the flow-grown stickers off the back because they're running from the hurricane. So I'm like, oh no! I guess it was a joke, but it was funny. All the Floridians that were scared to death. So. Yeah, you don't. If you're from Florida, you don't run from a hurricane. You play in it.
You play in the hurricane. That's right.
Yep.
Wait, oh my goodness.
Hey, you know, DeSantis had a press conference today that he was asked a few different questions about you know, how this storm was way different than another. He has his facts down. He knows about every storm all the way back to the worst 1950s, and he basically said, you know, the difference is we've got many million more people here, and one of the things that he took credit for is bringing in the power company trucks before the storm hits so that they're ready and can get back up and running again.
There you go. No, that's it. It's just preparing for the worst, and that's what a good leader should do. And it's crazy how that, you know, a rarity to have, you know, leaders that actually prepare and think about their people when they are about to get hit with a storm, because that does make a big difference. The faster you can get that power back on, the faster you can get the phone lines back on, it helps people so much, because
it can be really rough on some people. And no, that was good. Yeah. And still praying for those out there in North Carolina because they got hit so hard. It was awful out there. And the difference, I believe, is out there is the bedrock. You only got to dig about 10 foot in the ground up there in the Carolinas and hit rock. And in Florida, you can dig 6 foot down and hit, water. And there's little rivers underneath, aquifer and everything in Florida, so water soaks up real fast. But in North Carolina, it's just...
You have 1 minute remaining.
But, oh, man. I guess, dang, time's up.
Yeah, how about that?
Hey, no, thanks. Yeah, that's terrible. Out there, and I just want to thank y'all for, just being supportive of us because, y'all don't have to do that. You don't have to speak out on our behalf, but y'all do all the time. And, having a 2 years anniversary of doing it to us for sure because we know we're not alone. And, y'all are just as much patriots as we are.
Well, we appreciate that, and you guys make it happen. The fact that we can call and talk to you, that's what this is all about. So thank you. Back at you.
Oh, man. Thanks. God bless you. I love you. All right.
All right. Good night. God bless you.
Oh, I've got something on.
Yeah, that was John Pollock and Hutchinson, Joseph Hutchinson. Sorry, something in my throat.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring something up that I just found out on the way down to here. Talking about the hurricane response. As you know, when Helene first hit, Kamala Harris was at a fundraiser and Joe Biden was at the beach. Well, there's a big Trump rally tomorrow in Northumberland County. It's going to be packed. And Winsome Sears was due to be there. Yeah, I was getting ready to get into that, Maurice.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Shut up. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, I found out that she had originally altered her schedule to be here, and said, Winsome Sears is not going to be here. She's going to the part of Southeast Virginia that's still struggling with the storm. And that's what leadership is. Kamala Harris went to a sorority event, but Winsome Sears, our next governor, canceled a big fundraiser to be with her constituents. So I just wanted to point out the difference. Oh, and as I think Maurice was alluding to, the governor on the last second has agreed to fill in. So that's leadership, and that's why Virginia has come a long way since Youngkin's been in office. And the fact that Youngkin won as a heavy underdog last time tells me I think Hung Chow has got a good shot at it. He's surging in the polls. He was dominant in the debate with Tim Kaine.
He knows that 5 police officers didn't die on January 6th.
Anyway,
did he call? I heard he called Tim Kaine out for saying there was 5 dead officers on January 6th because, as we all know, 0 officers died as a result of January 6th.
Yes, that's absolutely true, John. And the one that died the next day, who was a Trump fan, by the way, although you'll never know, he died because of negligence of his own counterparts in the police department because have a seat on January 6th. He sat on a grassy knoll. 2 or 3 different J6ers who had life-saving experience and training offered to help him. The fellow police officers would not let him receive aid, and if he had been attended promptly, he'd still be with us today. So yeah, the one guy that did die, he died at the hands of his fellow police officers.
The next day. Yeah, the next day. The next day. Yeah, the medical examiner, the report, he died of natural causes the next day.
Yeah, they said he had 2 stroke events. And as you know, if a stroke is immediately attended to, the survival rate's very high. And vice versa, unfortunately.
To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is 6 cents. This and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
What's going on, Patriots? How are you, Tom?
Hey, is that Brian Smith?
This is. Happy 2-year anniversary, guys.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, the pleasure's all mine. I told Copeland last week I was going to try and call back to you guys on your 2-year anniversary. How are things going in Northern Neck?
Yeah, it's going great. We actually started a little early. We got to talk to some more people during the first hour, and it's been fairly nonstop. So it's great that you guys are calling and that you're figuring out how to manage both of these vigils, which is really great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries at all. It's a pleasure. You guys do so much for us, with the newsletters and feed. I mean, we're kind of in an information vacuum here, so the newsletters that you guys share and allowing us to tell our stories and give us a voice on here is the least I can do. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. What's new with you? Anything going on there that you want to talk about?
My family was able to stop here today, so I got to see my 2 youngest kids and my wife today. That was good.
Great.
Yeah, so they were coming back. My kids, my family lives in Alabama, but I grew up in upstate New York, so my wife brought the kids up there for their fall break from school, and then on the way back from New York, they stopped here to see me. So the timing worked out good, and I was able to see him. And I had just seen him a couple weeks before this at the family day that we had, so I got to see him 2 times recently, and this will be the last time I get to see him before my sentencing, because I'm a month out from sentencing now, and as long as they don't rip me out of here and send me to Philly unexpectedly or something crazy. I mean, even if they do, I've not, what caused another delay for me the last time was just me missing my PSR appointment so many times, but I finished that after coming back from Philly to DC like a month and a half ago, so there really shouldn't be any more delays on my sentencing, and I'm not trying to delay things. So
when is it scheduled for now?
November the 15th.
Okay. All right, Chill's 2 p.m. Yeah, she was looking. It's hard to see. We're outside tonight, outside the jail, and we're working in the dark a little bit. But
are you guys down here today?
No, we're outside the Northern Neck Regional Jail.
Oh, the Northern. Okay, yeah.
This is where we started our vigils 2 years ago. So the story behind that, if you don't know it, is Tammy Perriman was having the vigils up there with Mickey and Nicole and the rest, and her husband was out here. So she decided to try to reach out and find some local patriots, and she did. She found us, and they came on out and initiated the first vigil. It was on October 12th, I think. So that's how we got started, and we got to talk to her and talk to quite a few other people tonight, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, we're outside of this jail because the fact remains that there are still people behind bars here that are suffering the same kind of mistreatment that many of you guys are experiencing now, and we've got to make sure to shine a light on it.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I had I can't remember his last name. John, I want to say his name was Hannigan, maybe? I know I might be blistering that, but so that trip that I made, remember they yanked me out of I told you this story before, but they yanked me out of the DC jail and they sent me to the Philly BOP, and then with David Dempsey, when David Dempsey got sentenced, I went to Philly with them, and I was there for 3 weeks, and then they sent me back here, so maybe it's Henniger, but when I came back, I went through in-processing again here in the DC jail, and the first cell they gave me, there's like an in-processing unit here, juiced out. That's where everybody that comes into this jail goes to this in-processing unit. And the first cell they gave me was this older white gentleman. I think he said he was 71 years old. And I asked him, what's your story? And he was pro-life. He was a pro-life, Christian who was called up by, so, you know, he did like those, the protests outside the abortion clinics many years ago, and then got busy with work and his family and hadn't did them in like 15 years, but then he had retired officially, and got a call from some of the people at his church, and they asked him to come to DC and do a protest outside one of the Planned Parenthoods here, and the government came down and they hit him and the 8 other people that were there with conspiracy charges, and sentenced them all to 18 months in prison. He'd been in jail for a year, and he was coming through the DC jail from a different jail, headed to Lewisburg, and so he was only here in DC for a day. He was my cellmate for one day, and then was moving on to a different prison, but he'd already been locked up for 12 months, and he gave me his story, and I mean, I had heard about, you know, for him to tell me like 5 of them were women, and like the way that the government came at them and the way that they charged them, and they hit him with a conspiracy charge. I mean, the parallels were just uncanny to what I've experienced and what many other J6ers did, and I don't know, like it was so sad, one, because I mean, this man is, you know, just an older gentleman, real strong Christian, great guy, you know, told me his story, and this, you know, what he told me, I had no reason to doubt that it was not true, but it just kind of resolved in me that this was a battle on a spiritual level, because what they were doing to them and what they've been doing to so many J6ers just comes off to me as not a physical war. It wasn't about anything that we did or didn't do. It was about really more of who the people were that were there, and the parallels between the J6ers, you know, as far as like where their faith is and just personality traits and that kind of stuff. There's too many similarities for it to be a coincidence that those are the ones that they chose to go after out of the, you know, 1.5 million people that showed up in DC, and the ones that they, you know, started to prosecute. You know, I don't know. For me, there's just too many similarities, and I don't believe in coincidences either. No.
I agree with you. There's more similarities as well. If you follow the Whitmer Fednapping case, you know, those was a dozen people, I think, that were charged or something. Maybe it was 8 of them. I think 3 or 4 of them are still in jail. There's a really great film that's going to be coming out. It's called K&K Film, Kidnap and Kill. So share that with your loved ones. But I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but that's another story of exactly how the feds kind of created and actually embedded people into militia type groups, and basically entrapped them into doing something that they would have never thought to do themselves.
Yeah, I unfortunately, the more cynical side of my mind goes to, you know, I go back and I relook at some of these things. You know, I'm a student and a professional learner. And the more that I reflected on a lot of things that have happened, you know what I mean? You go through the FBI's website and look at their list of accomplishments and the things that they tout, and then you actually research those events, and I think that more often than not, I think that may possibly be the case rather than the exception. That, you know, a lot, and not just the FBI, but a lot of these government organizations, federal law enforcement, kind of set up situations to justify their existence, and their budgets, and you know, that they've used things like the Patriot Act and other things that were rammed down to just you know, hold the power and take as much of it as they could. It's a sad thing to see.
You know, the other thing that's happened recently in the last 3 or 4 years as well is DEI, how it's infected our government agencies. I was digging around on the FEMA website today because I'd run across a couple of years ago, I'd run across some kind of zone maps, and I wanted to understand those better. But so as I'm digging around in their website, it's just smothered with DEI type, you know, terminology and what they're doing and everything in their mission statements and all of it. It's in there, and it's just, you wonder why we haven't had a more positive response to the North Carolina, you know, Hurricane Helene issue. And as part of that, this agency is rotting within because of all this stuff.
And it's not just that agency. I worked for the federal government, you know, all the way up to the Department of Army and the Department of Defense. And it's systemic across the board with just the nonsense, you know what I mean, that they try and shove down people's throats. They do this force training on people, and I mean, it got to the point where I was turned in. I had an open Facebook page or whatever that because I had a picture of Pepe the Frog on there, and they gave hate, you know what I mean, like extremist training, like domestic terrorist extremist training. And so right next to the swastika and the SS symbol, they had a green frog face and a Kekistani flag, and this was considered like a hate symbol. So because I had that frog on my Facebook, I was turned in as a suspected
unbelievable
domestic terrorist. Yeah. And I mean, I was fairly high. I was a GS-13, maxed out GS-13 for the federal government. I was a tech lead for a major project office, aviation project office, and I was turned in by somebody to my security officer as a suspected. I mean, they said that, you know, I mean, somebody had turned me in. I mean, for all I know, you know, at this point, I'm fairly certain that the FBI already had an eye on me and was, you know, building their case for their indictment. So it could have been the FBI who turned me into my security office, but I got called in there about my Facebook profile picture, so for a cartoon frog.
Wow. And whose job is it to monitor everybody's Facebook? But hey, I've got a question for you from John Haynes.
Well, it's not so much of a question as an observation. Something nobody's reporting on, or very few other than myself, is one of the strategies that they have against the J6ers, Christians, people with traditional values, is they want to figure out a way to get a felony on your record. Because don't forget, the two happens when you're convicted of a felony.
Yeah, well, you lose your right to keep and bear arms.
Right, you cannot vote.
And you right to vote in a lot of places, yeah.
Well, when they do this over a period of years, it starts to eat into the electorate and the number of people that can defend themselves. So what they're basically trying to do is take away your rights under the color of law.
Yeah, and so I'll give you something else to support that. So for all the J6ers, almost I don't know a single one who hasn't faced this. So typically, when you're arrested for any crime, whether it be federal or not, you get a secured bond. So you either put up the bond, put up some sort of asset, or you go to a bail bondsman and they put up the bond for you, or whatever, a cash bond, and that's what they call a secured bond. The only thing they offered to any J6er that was allowed to go out on bond, and so a lot of them were arrested immediately and held for the entirety of their, till their trial and sentencing. But the ones that were allowed on a bond, they gave them unsecured bonds. That's the only thing that the federal government did. This unsecured bond came with like a 3-page list of things that you had to forfeit, to include removal of all firearms and ammunition was one of the main things that they did not allow any J6 defendant to have during this entire process. So they restricted people's movements. They had all kinds of conditions for drug testing and other things they had to do, even though the charges had nothing to do with any of this stuff. But the one main thing that they sent federal marshals to my house the day after I came out on bond to search my house to make sure all firearms and ammunition. This is years before my trial, a year and a half before my trial, and they forced everybody, if you wanted to go out on bond, the only way you got bond, there was no secure bond. It didn't matter if you put $1 million up. The only way to go out on bond was to sign away all these constitutional rights, as far as like restricting your movement, to rendering your passport, to turning in your firearms, not able to talk to any other J6 defendants, blah, 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 blah. The list went on and on and on and on and on. And that was the only way you went on bond. So even before conviction, they were very concerned with people's ability to keep and bear arms and communicate. They tried to put a social media gag on me during the process of my trial. Like, they were very worried about my ability to speak and my ability to keep and bear arms. Yep, absolutely, Joe.
You have 1 minute remaining.
All right, there's the 1 minute mark. So anything else you want to get out?
No, I just want to thank you guys so much for everything that you do, and thank you for continued effort and support, and God bless every one of you guys.
Well, thanks, Brian, and I look forward to the day that we get to meet in person. I'll just share with you, we've got a J6er who's out recently with us here tonight, so that's fantastic. We look forward to the day we get to be with you, too.
Absolutely. God bless you guys, and Godspeed.
All right.
Have a good night.
God bless you.
God bless.
Global Telly.
John,
Brian Smith.
I'm sorry, Paul. Could you tell us, or are you allowed to, like your terms of release, like your travel and things they allow you to do
So yeah, I was released from federal prison. I got a lot of restrictions. Basically, I can get on social media and stuff like that, but yeah, no weapons. They said no guns, and I knew no guns because I'm a felon. But you know, I asked the probation officer. You know, I live in a, the left, these Antifa, these crazy people, they threaten us and they come after us. And I was like, you know, am I allowed to have any kind of weapon? Like, what kind of protection am I allowed to have?
Water bottle.
Yeah, because they consider what they consider a dangerous weapon is, like you said, a flagpole, a water bottle. I mean, like, yeah, a bike rack. Oh my goodness. So yeah, Trump sign. I think over a dozen guys got hit with holding that Trump sign, except for Ray Epps. Ray Epps, who was shoving that Trump sign into the police officers, he didn't get charged with a dangerous or deadly weapon. I can travel like basically a little less than half of the state of Virginia. I had to check and make sure I could come to this county. I can. I can go all the way up to Loudoun County and go to the North Carolina border. Yeah, I can't speak to felons. That's why whenever these fellas call in, or whenever we're talking to Barry Ramey's girlfriend or Mason Corson's mother, I speak to them and I tell them what I think of their son or their boyfriend, but I can't say, hey, it's I guess it's a little bit better than being on bond, because on bond, and it's really crazy that they went after the Proud Boys, and Joe and Zach and Dominic. I mean, Dominic went after those 5 because think that they even thought that they could take over the most powerful government in U.S. history with no weapons, no army. It's ridiculous. I mean, these are my best friends right here. These guys are my brothers. These are my brothers. Uhuru. We're gonna make sure they get out, and we're gonna make sure their voices are heard. But you know, it's really, really sad what they're doing. I saw this clip online where he's saying that the people speaking their mind against the opposition are gonna pay for it. Well, I mean, that's nice that he's given us forewarning, but it's a little late. Not even in D.C. on January 6th. He's doing 22 years in prison. How disgusting is that? That's crazy.
There's a lot of the guys, the ones that I know that are, it's very invasive. Like, they financials every month. A lot of them have to take drug tests or take alcohol class. There's nothing there for that. And what else is there? Oh, that's
part of the paintbrush that labels them.
Well, I also wanna, I may not be able to have a gun, but my probation is very aware. We've made this very clear with my probation. I'm living with my friend, and probation visited my friend before I got out of prison, and things like that. So he purchased a gun safe, so we're all above board, 100% legal. But for all you Antifa out there, old guns, and there is a gun safe, keeping those safe. I think I'm sitting duck over here.
Yeah, and I just like,
I'm not an easy target, you know what I mean? And I can, yeah. Anyway.
I just wanted to add that.
And we also have security cameras also, by the way. Yes. Well, no, the Haitians ate those. But no, we do actually. He's an avid hunter, so he has a lot of cameras, hunting cameras that pop on whenever there's movement. Security perimeter, so everything like that. So.
Yeah, and I'd just like to remind the Antifa types and those who would.
That's right.
They have tens of millions of friends.
Yes, I do.
And some of us are country boys, and we know how to use firearms and protect people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, let me give you another little zinger. When we get all these felonies overturned, these gentlemen, and in some cases ladies, are going to have their firearms again, and they'll get to keep it.
Yes, and to be clear, everything we're speaking about is our legal right as American citizens. You have a legal right to self-defense. when you are legally allowed to possess firearms without a felony. Not me, because I can't hold a gun and I won't hold a gun and I will not break any laws. I will not break any rules. I am gonna cross my T's and dot my I's when it comes to my probation, and I'm gonna abide by the rules that they set for me.
Does that mean that was a regular cigarette you were smoking or watching?
Yep. All right. Hey, we're going to have a call coming in a second, so I wanted to do something here a little bit. Heather, if you could come on in here. Jen, if you could come on up here. Cheryl, if you could come on up here. And John Haynes, it includes you as well. I wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to every one of you for your work for J6 and for your letter writing and your advocacy and all the work that you do, and with your husband's help, of course. And Jen, you've been in this fight from the very beginning. And Heather, you're the one that makes this all happen for us. So thank you for 2 years. And, hope you enjoy it, and don't think bad of me every morning when you use it.
Oh, I've already figured out what to put in this bad boy.
There you go. All right. So
as soon as I get home. That's beautiful, Tom. Thank you.
And that is from Stop Hate, David Summerall. These are your mugs from Stop Hate, and I just thought that would serve a real great dual purpose. So
thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Tom.
Demonstration.
I didn't even see that. It has J6 on the back of it.
It will.
It has J6 on the back. Yeah, I see that part.
Yep.
Thank you.
It could end up with a hole in the bottom, could it?
Yeah, sure could.
Is that an upside down American flag on it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Mm.
Yep.
I don't know if we can show one on the.
He did.
Did you try?
She just went up there
He
and showed
did.
it.
They showed it.
She's trying to help you. How many people don't know what an upside down flag is all about?
You did say
That's
that
terrifying.
when they're convicted as a felon, they lose their guns. But actually, when they come in and raid their home and they haven't been found guilty of a damn thing yet, that's when they take their guns.
Right.
Yeah.
But with the goal of them never getting them back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so they were just mentioning how when they raid your home and before you're found guilty and when you get taken away, they take your guns before you're found guilty of that felony. When you have a felony, you can't have a gun. But another thing that I think is...
Yeah, you're done. Ceremony's over. I noticed this when I was setting up tonight.
Ted Ho.
Oh, wow.
That's the newest brick in the block.
Oh, my word.
That's why I
See
couldn't.
how it's already got moss growing around it.
Oh, no.
Another thing about when they raid your home, so a lot of us were rounded up for a particular kind of a charge, like an assault or a parading or whatever, 1512, obstructing an official proceeding. If you obstruct an official proceeding, which was unconstitutional the way that they applied it, because it was actually concerning witness tampering or evidence tampering. Yeah, it was corporate law. But just taking the word itself, obstructing an official proceeding, or assault on an officer, or parading or picketing or whatever you want to say, the public, the other one, disorderly conduct. If you get arrested for one of these charges, the feds take your electronics, and you don't need to know their friends are.
They want to see if they can pin conspiracy on you.
Yeah,
They want to build networks.
Yeah, it's really wild. It's being, okay, this guy did this act. Well, then you go get arrest the guy and go have his day in court. Why are you going through his email list? Why are you going through his phone? It doesn't make any sense. Well, yes, like you said, Bruce, it makes all too much sense. Master creep of communism that we've been witnessing through the last several decades. But it's like ever since 9/11, I don't believe Kamala's going to win this election, but I think they intended for this this is their final stretch to put the nail in the coffin.
It is.
It's scary. It really is. It's very scary when you think about it. It is frightening, because she's talking about, they're talking about, oh man, they accuse Trump of wanting to go after his political, that is
literally already gone after their political opponents is them. They're not. It's not the future. They're already doing it. They did it with Giuliani and Roger Stone and General Flynn and from Florida, Congressman. He was Rick Perry. Didn't they take his phone? I mean, the Congress people that they're taking their cell.
Okay, well, this guy talked to him. Oh, that name popped up here too.
Yeah.
Then they start checking their social media, and so it's a web they're building, and
talking to this nice lady right over here. I'm scared to say her name. I think she's freaked out if I say her name. We were just talking because the government literally is doing it. It's happening. This is Gestapo tactics. This is. I mean, not to mention we're funding Nazis in Ukraine, but we're already doing this stuff. I mean, this is weird. Azov Brigade. The Azov Brigade is neo-Nazis. They're literally
not all
Nazis.
Going to Nazis. Some of it's going to crooks.
It's interchangeable, whatever. But
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we paying for their retirement funds? You know?
Right.
Yeah, we're
Their elite health care.
and they change things. They memory hole everything they've done, and they expect the American people to just. John Pierre, she's on the podium at the White House. Yeah, this racist lady, this racist crazy nut.
You're
joke.
racist because
I'm a racist.
Yeah, she's black. You can't say anything bad about her.
I'm not allowed to.
Well, she's gay, so you're in double duty.
I'm a bigot. I'm a double bigot. Oh man, this is terrible. I'm in it now. You know, but you know, it's like 2 years ago. She says we're diverting FEMA funds to deal with illegal immigrants, and we're going to give them hotels and debit cards and all sorts of things. All right, so they're still doing this, exactly. But then we say, hey, Majorca says they're going to run out of money for the hurricane season, and they don't have the money to deal with these people. And we're saying because you guys spent it on the illegal immigrants, and they're saying, no, we never did that. And then the clips come out of them saying, literally 2 years ago. I mean, you could put on the internet. I love. Now you can put those clips side by side, and I have seen them, where Karine Jean-Pierre is saying in 2022, we're going to divert FEMA funds to deal with the.
But we have no FEMA funds.
And yeah, and not to mention the greatest memory hole of all, which was just Kamala Harris herself. She's been a communist her whole life. She was voted by. She was not voted. She was rated by a left-wing organization as more liberal than Bernie Sanders. She believed she wants to do away with fracking, do away with fossil fuels, but then subsidize and have government built a green energy industry so they can control it. Government control green energy, and like we see what's going on. We see she's for. Now she's even saying she wants price controls, and she said she wants universal health. Price controls and universal health care alone brings us into communism. That alone is enough, including all the other things. But the indoctrination of our children brings us into yeah, the indoctrination of our children brings us. I mean, all of these things that she's been for her whole life. Now she's saying, oh, well, no, there's the media is saying, oh, you know, she's a moderate. No, she's normal. She doesn't believe any of those things. You know, she released some anonymous spokesperson for her campaign released on the internet, some Twitter post saying, oh, yeah, no, she doesn't believe in that anymore. And then the media just accepts it. You know, it's really, if you've never read 1984 by George Orwell, I encourage everybody out there to read it because this is literally happening. The telescreens in that book, that phone right there, that's your telescreen. They're listening to us right now. I mean, we're on live stream, but yeah. Well, yeah, we'll just give you what you want so that you don't have to get on my phone. You know, stay out of my phone. I'll just live stream it all. So it's crazy. I mean, it blows my mind. And then you get into what they're doing to political opponents and to protesters on January 6th. Look, I'm not here to defend if anybody, you know, if I, you know, trespassed or whatever. I get it. If you know, fairness in the justice system is fairness in the justice system. I get that, but doing 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 20 years. 20 years in prison. Enrique Tarrio, a great man with a great voice and someone that our children should be able to look up. Years in prison for something he didn't do. He didn't even think, none of them even thought about taking over the government. That's insane to even think that. I don't even know how that is even, these guys, what Ethan didn't even organize a pizza party, much less a insurrection. Like, what are they even thinking? They stopped at the food truck before they walked in the Capitol and for a few minutes and then walked out. They stopped at the food truck. Man, I'm telling you, if you've ever participated in an insurrection before, you can't let an empty stomach get in the way of a good insurrection, all right? You're there that day, tense as hell, man. You're about to commit your insurrection on the greatest nation government, on the most powerful government on earth, but you got to stop and get tacos.
And how many people had to turn around and leave because they couldn't find a bathroom? I've heard that story over and over again too. By the way, so.
Mayor Bowser shut all the restaurants down that day, so we couldn't even use the bathroom.
Antifa worked around the bathroom problem. A little unsanitary, but whatever.
A lot of people got pissed off that day.
It's you know, I got to. It's just amazing to see the amount of like tyranny we're really. It's not future. It's not like, hey guys, you know, vote this election season because we could slide into socialism. No. We're there already, man. We're in it. This is the last election if she gets elected, and Elon Musk and Donald Trump were exactly right about that.
Well, we got a couple minutes here, so we want to be ready. I would say in response, Xi Van Fleet, have you heard of her? She is a Chinese immigrant, came over here when she was a young lady, and she got involved in politics in the school boards up in, I think, Fauquier or one of those Northern Virginia counties. And she went into the school boards and she said, all this DEI stuff, all this you know, things that are in the textbooks, this is communism. It's already at your doorstep. It's here. Wake up and check her out. So she is, I saw her at the Virginia Tea Party. I hope to try to get her out here. She's doing national speaking tours. She's very busy, but there's several people like that isn't it funny that the people who have the greatest clarity on what's going on in our country are people who have lived outside of our country in communism and have come here and said, wait a minute, you're letting the country that I came here and I fell in love with fall apart. People, wake up, get off your butts.
Yeah, it's here. It's here.
All right, so I just want to summarize here. 2-year anniversary of Northern Neck Patriots. Thank you everybody online who's following us. Thank you, John, for being here. Everybody else who's always here in one way or the other, in spirit at least. And we're going to keep on going with this as long as we have to until we get justice, because we're giving this platform is to give voices to the people who didn't have the ability to speak. And as John said it and as others have said it tonight, when you're stuck there in the dark and deepest place that you can ever imagine, to think that nobody cares about you, they've tucked you away forever, to know that they're in your communities, find some injustice that you can work on, get involved with other organizations. Stop Hate. I'll give another shout out again to Stop Hate, great organization. Trennis Evans, Condemned USA. There's so many. Writing letters to J6ers, sending some money, a little bit that you can spare, it all goes a very, very, very long way. So. All right, and vote. Get out and vote.
The thing is, we mentioned Southeastern VA being a mess. Marcus Nally went through here, and that's not to put his business out there, but he's been doxxed, and that's where they're from, and there's no getting in contact with Jen right now.
We don't know if they have power or if they're okay.
Yeah. Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Dominic Fox.
It's Dominic.
Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is $62.89. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello, Northern Neck.
Hello, hello.
Hey, guys. Hey, happy 2-year anniversary. We're just running a couple seconds behind here on getting through to DC, so you guys know it's right around that time where every day for the last 3.5 years, your January 6th friends and family members have sang the national anthem. We're excited to do that with you guys here tonight again, but do give us just... Thank you guys for your support, for your unconditional love for the J6ers. God first.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, hey, always an honor to carry you guys through on that for another week. Still an incredible honor to be here, a part of this incredible J6 fraternity that so many of you guys there at Northern Neck and around the country listening right now have gotten to know over the last 3.5 years. And so I want to give, it's Dominic Box. I want to give you guys, though we've never met in person, though I never had to, thankfully, in many ways, ever grace the halls of the Northern Neck Regional Jail. I just sincerely appreciate all of the work that Tom, Cheryl, Maurice, John, and so many of the other incredible Patriots that make up the Northern Neck Patriots, and all of you in the Northern Neck region of Virginia and around the country that have not just highlighted the injustices of what was happening there at the Northern Neck Regional Jail, which, as you guys know, impacts far more than just January 6ers, but for just being committed to this cause of patriotism and caring about people that some of you guys have never even met. So my hats are off to you guys. My sincere appreciation and thanks goes out to all of you who I've named, the many people that I'm sure I've forgotten, but to every one of you guys out there that, whether you're listening at home right now, you're out there outside the jail. Heather Young, I know you're there, and everybody else that's just made me feel like a part of a family. I come from a very small family, but it has grown exponentially as a part of this experience. And so first, again, just thank you to the Northern Neck Patriots. Thank you to everybody in that community and to all the men that went through that truly, horrific experience at Northern Neck. Some of the, I've met a lot of incredible men, and it seems like, they I don't know how they made the decision about who they brought over to Northern Neck, but some of the best guys that I've met throughout this experience had to go through absolute hell at that facility. And thank you guys for not just highlighting those issues, but for ultimately bringing about some much needed change. And I know the work continues, but again, thank you guys for that.
Hey, Dominic, that's a great thing that you just said regarding the family, because we truly are family. We've met so many people through this, and there's so many supporters that know that the injustice that you guys are facing, you're living through, and it's just not right. And if they can do it to you, they can do it to any one of us. And that's why we're here, and that's why we're going to continue to be here until we win this fight.
It's the J6ers today. Who knows who it'll be tomorrow? And God willing, let's continue to grow this family, to grow this network. And when we see injustice anywhere, to call it out and ensure that it doesn't happen again, because it doesn't have to, but it certainly can if we, the American people, slack off. And she should be here with us, not in jail, but she should not be celebrating her heavenly birthday. She should be celebrating a birthday here on earth with us. May 6th, she, like so many people, was there to peacefully protest. And unfortunately, she, along with three, I want to say a special thanks to Mickey for all she's done in continuing the vigil out here. I can't even imagine what this experience has been like for her. And though more extreme, then thankfully, all but three other families, the experience on all of our families has been indescribable. Fewer days ahead of us than we do behind us. And no matter how everything shakes out, I just, I want to give a lot of credit to certainly my mom, and all of our families for standing with us, never letting us down. And really just, those of us here in the jails or the prisons or wherever we're at the halfway houses, we eventually get used to the conditions, whether they're good or bad, but the true nightmare and the hell that our families go through, I don't even know. I can't even describe it, because they have no control over what they say about their loved ones. They have no control over, what's happening to their loved ones in this facility, and a lot of times they feel helpless until they come into contact, like people from the Northern Neck Patriots. Cheryl, I know you sent my mom a package, and that truly, brought tears to her eyes. It brought so much love and encouragement to her. And but anytime our families come out here to Freedom Corner and just get a part of this community, I know it helps them so much. So you guys aren't just helping those of us that are here in the facilities, but as you guys know, and I hope you know, how much you're helping the co-victims of this incredible experience. But it's not, I don't want to continue to focus on just negative and sad things. It's happy anniversary to Northern Neck, happy heavenly birthday to Ashley Babbitt, and happy day of dismissal, finally, officially, to me. After it's finally after 13 months of being threatened with a 20-year felony, the only plea offer I was ever given was to the 1512 obstruction of an official proceeding charge. And though my initial inclination was, oh my God, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, it was my mom, Valerie Box, who was the first one that said, and I had, you cannot agree to plead guilty to something you didn't do. You will regret that for the rest of your life. And guys, it was hard, because they scared, the first time, and hopefully the only time, you ever see United States of America versus your name? I mean, I literally threw up. I was in a courtroom in Savannah, Georgia. I ran out and threw up. It's terrifying what they do to you. And thank God, it took a couple months for me to really, embrace it and understand it. But I listened to my mom. I listened ultimately to my intuition and my belief that the American people and the Supreme Court, that, thankfully Donald Trump has, been able to adjust into a way legally that I believed would eventually favor truth winning out. And that was that the 1512 obstruction of an official proceeding charge had no place and no relevance being used against January 6th defendants. Certainly not myself, and certainly not any of the other men that I've met who were faced with that charge. So I just wanted to say, I know there was it's actually been 3 separate times that the government was compelled to make a decision. My trial was on June 17th, almost 4 months ago. Next week it'll be 4 solid months. I've not received a verdict yet, but ultimately that was my biggest charge. I'm very fortunate in that aspect. There are still 2 other felony charges, but ultimately with the dismissal of that charge, no matter what happens in the election, that's ultimately the difference between me facing an extended prison sentence or, being here and listening to President Trump, and just my faith in God and this whole process that, on day 1, pardons will be granted. We will be able to have our sentences commuted, whatever they are, and we'll be able to walk out of here, whether it's the D.C. jail or the Bureau of Prisons. But ultimately, by the time I assume I'll probably get a verdict, if not over the weekend, early next week. It's then a minimum of 3 months before sentencing. But by that point, I will be at 100% of my guidelines. So unless, of course, the judge can do anything, but ultimately I should be able to, at that point, pardon or otherwise, be done and be able to, get back to my life. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful that, eventually, the right decision was made there. But ultimately, there are still men sitting in prison right now with only that felony charge. So continue to advocate. There was no reason that the government took certainly not 13 months to, decide on what to do with that charge. But keep in mind, I know of one individual, Rafael Rondon, who right now is sitting in prison. I met him. He was incredibly smart and incredibly talented and brilliant engineer, also from New Jersey, who's sitting in prison right now with that charge. So continue to pray for the January 6th defendants who are going to have difficulty getting that 1512 charge reduced, because from what I hear, if you took that plea, there was literally language in the plea that said, irregardless, or you waive the right to appeal on the grounds of constitutionality. And when I saw that, and the government refused to take that out, I was even willing, just to tell you guys the kind of games they were playing. I said, I will take this charge if you remove it, so I can eventually, if the Supreme Court rules in our favor, appeal it. And they said no. So I'm glad. Ultimately, I listened to my mom. I'm 34 years old, but moms always know best. And in this case, shout out to my mom, Valerie Box. I love you. And as always, you were right.
That's great news. Great news. Here's some other great news. We got to speak to James Grant this evening. So,
awesome.
Yeah. He's doing
good.
He's doing all right. He's getting used to freedom. He drove a car for the first time today. A couple other things he's done for first time.
Got
in
a
a
real
while.
haircut.
Oh, getting a real haircut. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah.
I don't know what he means by that. Jonathan Pollock and I are incredible barbers, so I don't know what.
Well, they didn't use razor blades and stuff like that, I guess. So.
Well, that's awesome. I know, I don't know all the specifics, but I understand it may be, given his supervised release conditions, he may not be able to communicate with us. But I know certain people, I don't want to say their names, some of you that are out there right now can communicate. I'll have to be careful with that. Just let him know that his friends in here still love him. We're so happy for him, and that we look forward to seeing him at Mar-a-Lago. If anybody has the ability to convey that to him in a way that does not impact his freedom, because we don't want to see anybody come back here. We want everybody to get out and to enjoy their freedom, their liberty. Their liberty and their freedom, because
you have 1 minute
remaining. And we want him to be able to join us here. Just want you to know that John Mellis is here with us tonight, and that's all I can say about that. So I'll let you have your minute back.
Yeah, guys. Hey, again, it's Dominic Box here at the DC jail, still sitting right outside cell number 1. One thing before I go, I did have an incredible meeting with an individual from Virginia. He's from Norfolk. His name is Noah Montgomery, strong, on-fire Christian, running for DC Council Ward 7. I suggest he reach out to you guys. I know it's a couple hours away from where he grew up, but if you guys have any way to reach out and support Noah Montgomery, DC Council Ward 7, prayer-wise and others. And other than that, guys, I look forward to calling you again next week. Mom, I still love you. Northern Neck Patriots, I love you. It's gibsongo.com/freedomj6. We love you guys. Save the cats and dogs. Vote Trump Van 2024. And
thank you for using Global Telling.
Missed it by that much.
Yeah, he's got it down. He's got it down. That's for sure. All right. Well. And everybody online, as always, and share these out. These men's voices need to be heard, and we're going to win this fight. So get out and vote, everybody. Vote early, and God bless you all. Good night.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, sir.
One last thing, I just want to encourage everybody out there watching, please, if you would like to get to know some of these J6ers better in our own words, please visit wearegoodmen.com. And on Rumble at We Are Good Men, you can check out that podcast that was filmed in the DC jail. And like Mr. Jeffrey said, vote early, vote often.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Oh, come on, I'm tapped out. I've been doing deliveries for 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh.
I need a picture of all you Northern